Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fun-packed episode of the Four Color Fossils. I am your host, Graphic Man. I am joined by our foreign correspondent, Paulo Costa, and the legendary Eric Breen. Good evening, gentlemen. And it looks like we have a few people in the audience. Geeky Puppet Show's here. Hello. Moranya's here. Always good to see you guys. Fantastic. Well, thank you. Yeah, we try to be spooky. I only see three. Yeah, three fossils, and
Yeah,
one in training.
the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmas future. Even though it's not Christmas.
I hesitate to make light of this situation because at our age, if people don't show up, you
Yes,
You don't know what happened.
in fact, I've titled the paragraph on the YouTube page that describes this. It says, "And the handful of fans that love them see them defy death every minute that they're still breathing. See their comics that you won't stand a chance of inheriting. See them act like they know what they're talking about. It's round 3 of scary stuff. And if you've made it this far, you are a glutton for punishment." So hopefully everybody's okay, and I don't have to edit that too soon. So, the great Vinkman is here.
Yeah, that's all. That's all we need to swell his head any bigger.
No refunds. You bought it, you takes it home.
Your rooting section's here, so we can get going. I thought I might show a few crazy little numbers here that are creepy, spooky, whatever you want to call them. It's a little house of secrets. This guy is turning into a monster. And he's being witnessed by 2 innocent children.
Kids are everywhere.
Always nice. I was hoping Steve would be able to see this one. It's Charlton Monster Hunters number 2. Then we have a Grimm's Ghost Story, number 8. Ripley's Believe It or Not 50 from 1974. Here's a nightman or a night watchman, and he is seeing 2 ghosts duke it out.
That night watchman obviously doesn't see the opportunities for making money. You could charge admittance to have people watch the ghost fight.
But then someone would complain, "Why can't you have this earlier?" I know I would. Here's Boris Karloff, number 30. Not exactly real scary, but it is creepy because you're being hauled away for your execution. And pretty wild. Not to go too fast, I'll take a break behind us. Why Not's here. Good to see you. All right. Well, thank you for that. Wonderful.
I have a customer.
Well, good.
The Phantom Wrestling Federation.
Hello, why not? It's always good to see you here. Be sure to check out everybody in the crowd, be sure to check out their channels. So I know a lot of you have good channels and need to support everybody. The other day, I was recommending everybody go check out Shannon because Shannon was joining us on Sunday, and Eric Breen noted that I forgot to mention Jambo had recently dropped a video. So I am now prepared to show a photo of him. So be sure to go check out Jambo's channel, and he's got a lot of great content there. So, and if anyone was paying attention, we'll find out later. So, what else we got? Spectator, it's good to see you. Oh no, he really got a cheering section now.
Don't worry, they're young and they have ADD. They'll forget they were here and leave in a minute anyway.
Now, Paulo, you recently were at a convention, and you're going to be dropping some videos shortly. But did you actually purchase anything?
I bought a few comics. I did do a video haul last Sunday. Showed off what I bought. An interesting item that I bought. It's something that I can show later.
Okay.
Because for a different episode, because I bought Bill Sienkiewicz's adaptation of Moby Dick, which was originally from the first comics Classics Illustrated line, but the French published it as album size, so it's larger than usual, and it has a beautiful cover. So I'm going to leave that for when we do a Classics Illustrated episode.
Oh, okay, super. Why not? Hold on a second, and I'll try to track one of those down. Hello, Comic K Crack. Am I pronouncing that right, Paulo?
Crack.
Comic Crack. Okay.
Our Canadian visitor.
And well, so I guess I can go to Eric while I look for a little picture as a request.
All right. I'll start off with this is the hard cover, the hard copy of the book Paulo showed last week.
That's not a picture of Dracula I would expect to be a scene associated with the character. He's more, I don't know, like I don't know how to describe him.
I don't know, but this is a beautiful book. I mean, it's painted throughout, and it's really good.
Cool.
All right, so pretty much just going to show magazines tonight. So let's see. Got a couple random ones here. The Tales of Voodoo.
Wow.
The only Skywall, well, one of the few Skywalds I still have, Scream, number 10. Let's see. Dracula Lives, annual number 1. And the first issue of the magazine series itself.
He wants you to open them up.
I'm too lazy.
Yeah.
Number 2. If I open up that Scream, it'll fall apart. That's in horrible shape. There's number 3.
Later tonight, I have a couple that look dynamite, but boy, they would fall apart if I opened them as well.
Yeah, it's real quick. Why not? I don't know if you're familiar with Gondanaland, but they've reprinted all the Skywald stuff. You can get like 4 issues at a time, perfectly reproduced for $15. So number 4. And you can order on Amazon or directly through them. Here's number 5.
Wow.
Number 6.
I love the corner box logo. How Dracula's reading the marble logo.
Number 7. For some reason, they put the numbers on some of the covers, and some of them they didn't, and there didn't ever seem to be any rhyme or reason as to why. Here's number 8. Number 9 is every vampire should wake up with a hot babe chained to a chair next to him, I guess.
It goes without saying.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck doing that one today. Number 10.
Wow. These look great.
I rebagged them right before we went on the air.
Oh.
I almost got done. Got all the way down to Vampire Tales. Here's number 11. Number 12. And number 13. And that completes the run.
What a great cover. Wow.
For some strange reason, Marvel UK decided to merge Dracula Lives and Avengers into the same magazine when they had to cancel one of them.
Maybe that's what gave Marvel the idea to put Blade in the Avengers. That makes about as much sense.
Uh-oh. I agree. That 13 was dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Great colors. All right. There was a request for, was it Frankenberry? Earlier I did a Frankenstein. I think that was number 8. We're replacing Boris and Bella. And here's the Frankenberry General Mills. The cereal that's coming alive. Close up of the face. So, and I forget. No one's really clamoring to see this, but I try to get it out there when I can. So, and of course, Richie Rich, Vault of Mystery. All right, I think that's caught people back up. Thank you. Why not?
I don't know. His first one was pretty good.
Oh, super. I'll display my email here in a second. Outrage. What was the outrage?
Probably
little
Eprolata.
Yeah.
The notion that his check bounced.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Is good. The International Bank of Frogland should cover that.
Let's see. Oh yeah, I'll do that later. Well, let me show a couple more. We need another good werewolf. So here's a House of Mystery, number 279, front cover by the great Louis Dominguez. I pronounce it both ways, and I figure I get it right half the time. And what a cover. Crypt of Shadows, number 8, January 1974.
That is really cool.
If I had a van, I'd want that painted on the side. And don't you hate it when you're going somewhere and you get there, it's closed, you can't get in? Well, here's a House of Mystery. And here's 2 little kids. They just can't get in. Having a bad day. All right. Let's see. You'll have to remind me in the chat or which book I was showing. Sure, Eric. Crypt of Shadows. I don't know. Sadly, I didn't put it on the back. I didn't write it down.
By the way, Luis Dominguez is from Argentina, so it should be Luis. And he was part, I'm seeing here in the Grand Comics database that he was part of the Union Studio. And he has a lot of interesting people that worked there as well, including Horacio Altuna, José Delbo, Leo Durañona, Fernando Fernandez, José Luis Garcia Lopez before he was better known. Actually, that's how he got known. Domingo Mandrafina. And Carlos Villagran. Nice.
It's a reprise of an Atlas book. Yeah, a similar one is House of Mystery. Well, there's a cat on the coffin, but yeah. Jackson's in the house. Jackson, if you liked the Power Man and Iron Fist mock-up I did, you're probably going to like tonight's Graphic Man mess around with pop culture. Yeah. All right, Paulo. I guess we can. Do you want to load a screen, or are you going to show something physically?
Yeah, I only got physical books today.
Okay.
I think there's an opportunity for something different. Got one of my Italian edition of Dylan Dog, Il Gioco del Destino, The Game of Fate. Like other Dylan Dog comics, it's more the gothic surrealist type. So you're supposed to feel queasy, not weirded out.
You said Fate. You said Fate, but on the cover it was Destino.
Yeah, it works the same way. The Fate and Destiny are always translated as Destino.
Oh, you got a fan.
Mm-hmm. Let me show some other pages here.
But you're not claiming your fan.
By the way, here's Groucho sleepwalking on the rooftops. Let's find another weird page. Like this one, I guess. Starts getting all weird on the last panel. Nice. Where's the other page that I wanted to show? This one. Okay, let's go for another one. A Portuguese book. Ooh, The Poem Dies. Written by my friend David Soares, with art by Sonia Oliveira. David rarely repeats artists, and I'm always finding a finding a new one whenever he puts out a book. He hasn't done many comics in the last few years. He's mostly a novelist now. He also has a series of videos on the history of Lisbon, but they're in Portuguese, so I can't show them. So the type of art inside is very strange. So it's not for everybody. Got some gore plus death and destruction here. I'm not sure if you can, but that's a mutilated pig.
Huh.
So this isn't something that you just can show the art. You really have to get into the story because the individual panels are kind of useless. Okay, that's it for this one. Now let's go for some Gothic science fiction. The Living Death by Olivier Vatin and Alberto Varanda, Portuguese immigrant in France. This book is an adaptation of a science fiction novel by Stefan Voul. So we've got some weird octopus things.
Yeah. There's never enough of those. By the way, Evil Black Cat, I think that was House of Mystery 20. No, 205. I'm misreading it. So, in fact, Paulo, while you're looking, I'll show it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I was talking about, where it's not the Crypt of Shadows necessarily, but it's a similar concept. That's the art for it. Okay, I'm sorry. You go right ahead.
This story involves a person trying to resurrect her dead daughter, and she ends up creating an abomination. Then those octopuses get involved, and it's all part of a plot by the octopuses to prevent humans from going into space because humans are evil. There goes my mic. Oh, one of the books that I bought this week. Some nice Richard Corbin, Spirits of the Dead, adapting Edgar Allan Poe. It's not usual that we get Richard Corbin published here. In fact, I think the only time that happened was when we had the Marvel Max Cage miniseries. So of course we have all the typical Corbin art. I haven't had time to read this yet, but I think I'm going to enjoy this. I'm also not that familiarized with Edgar Allan Poe's material itself, so it's a good chance, and Corbin's art helps.
Yeah, top panel's going to hurt. Tonight I'll be showing 3 decapitations. So
couldn't really see the skeletons from here. It's because of my camera. See, this is a pretty big book. How many pages does this have? Over 200, I think.
So the pages you were showing don't exactly have tons of dialogue, so it looks like it's very quick to read.
Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe, I think, is descriptive. So the best way to show it off is by letting the art tell the story instead of wasting too many panels in dialogue. Yeah, it is a 220-page book, so it's got all the stories that Corbin did. And the other book I bought, the adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula by Georges Bess. This is one of the books that I filmed the exhibit. Let's find some good pages for this. Like this one, I guess. The whole scenery is very nightmarish, even when they're showing normal images, because there's a lot of use of negative space, like on this page.
Yeah.
And Dracula himself is shown as both ugly in the Nosferatu tradition and beautiful as he is seen by Mina Harker. Like in this scene, the reason that Dracula is able to blend into London society is because he has to have a magnetic, charming personality. Otherwise, it wouldn't have worked. Because that is ultimately what Dracula is about. The people focus a lot on the physicality of the vampire bite and the curse and being turned into an undead, but Bram Stoker's version is mostly about sexuality. Here's this page, him turning into a bat, halfway in transformation.
It's all looking good.
A lot of people were impressed by this book, and it was one of the books that everybody was talking about for this convention, the one that everybody wanted to buy. I didn't get the book signed because there was a very long line for it. I kind of like this page because he seems sleeping here with all the blood dripping out. So as you can see, lots of strong imagery here.
Yeah.
Not going to show the whole book, but I don't even know if this book is going to be available in English. I hope it is, because if you like real horror, you should have this in your collection. So yeah, once again, this is the cover.
I think Eric Maranya is talking about EC Comics, and it's the ball is the head they're using.
Yeah, that's the story about the player that kills the player on the other team with poison spikes, and he thinks he's gotten away with it until the season ends, and they invite him for a little midnight game.
That's how we should have handled the White Sox back in. All right. Paulo, did we cut you off in mid-sentence?
No. I was finished with the Dracula book, so I don't have anything. I can show the other book that everybody was talking about, but it's not horror genre, which is Brodek's Report. It's also a literary adaptation, although it's not horror, so I'm not going to show it. But it's the other book that everybody was talking about. It's off format, and it was a bit expensive. Everybody wanted it. It's really daring for this publisher to put out something like this.
Okay.
All right. So I guess I'll be cutting this short. I've been having some trouble sleeping because of my new schedule, so I'm gonna take the opportunity to sleep tonight because I have a day off tomorrow.
All right.
So sorry to leave you.
That's fine.
Yeah, unfortunately, everybody skipped town this weekend.
Yeah. We'll see if Eric and I can maintain until Gra 2 might show up. You never know.
He's like that sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, all right. In that case, everyone have a good night. I hope I didn't give you nightmares with the Dracula book.
All right. Have a good one,
Take care, Paulo.
Oh, do we dare, Eric?
I'll let him on.
Hey, spectator. All right. I tell you what, I'll dig up the link. Dare I say it, while you show a few things.
All right. Open mic night at the Palladium tonight. All right, yeah. Full screen me.
Boom. Okay.
All right. The Haunt of Horror, #1.
Hey, but that logo's not reading the book logo like Dracula was.
I believe #2. #3, a rather creepy looking cover there.
Very.
You just kind of wonder how that girl got in that situation. Just saying. Here's #4.
Just to let you know, we're being joined. Hello, sir.
Hi! Froggy!
Hey, how's it going?
It's come to this graphic.
According to Froggy, this helps gets views, and that's what he says.
Yeah.
You know, Eric, I do have a puppet, but I think that would be a little too much.
Yeah, don't whip it out. We're good.
No.
We'll take a pause from this round to introduce those who don't know to the Geeky Puppet Show.
Yeah, we're the voices inside Breen's head.
You're the voice inside of everybody's head. I'm just a puppet.
Watch more graphic videos.
That is true.
Wait a second. You might want to rephrase that. If we want to watch more graphic videos, we'd be somewhere else right now.
Oh, well, yes. Watch more graphic man videos. No, that doesn't really help, does it?
Well, but at least
helps.
it's factual. It's accurate.
Help
What?
specify.
Watch Man of Graphic videos.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Sweeps Week ain't what it used to be.
All right, so now we don't have any joke writers. Well, we need to get Paulo back in here.
Is Paulo your writer?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Oh, man. He never sends me scripts.
Have you not seen our international videos? He does my voice perfectly.
You know, so I just haven't gotten to it. I didn't know he did your voice.
Yeah. When he does it, it's like Antonio Banderas. Everybody loves it.
I will plug this coming Friday night. These three that are joining with me, they always do a live reading, and I was crazy enough to join them last Friday. I had a blast. It was great, but you all need to go check that out. I forget. I always say I love comics. You still type that in, you can find it. I don't know the new name because I
believe
forgetting.
it's Engeltine Loves Comics.
It's great. Well worth it. Just go. It'll be around 10 Eastern on Friday, right?
He also loves views.
What do you guys are you doing a Dead Man's first appearance?
I believe so, but it's up to the old man to remember it.
I don't know. What video did you first appear on, Breen?
Did you say something, Puppet Black Cat?
I am not a cat.
I'm lost here.
Yeah, I see this comment, Eric. I do feel like the guest star on Sesame Street, and they have to stand there while the puppets talk to them.
Today's letters are F and. Never mind.
No. I'm gonna go before he goes ahead and gets you canceled. Ah!
You can't get canceled if nobody's watching, right?
Oh, well, there are like 18 viewers.
As soon as we jumped on, they left.
Well, speaking of that, why don't we let Eric show a couple more books?
Yeah, let's full screen that guy. Look at his beautiful mug.
Sure.
As he holds the book in front of it, so we can't see his face.
I kind of look at that as a win-win. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is the shirt they were talking about. A little taste of the blood of Dracula there for.
Oh yeah,
for Lee, man.
Spirit.
That shirt sucks.
I'm sorry. Anyway. Thank you.
Anyway.
Yes. Mike has got far too much dignity to round out the quorum. Here's number 5.
I would mess up the lines. I can't ad lib.
There's Haunt of Horror number 12.
Wow.
Ooh. Outrage.
So that's Lilith. Wow.
Yeah. Here's a one shot they did, a Legion of Monsters.
Ooh. It's the team up we all needed.
The Monster Mash.
I'll show a couple previews here to round up this. Number 3, Blade, the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yeah.
That's back when he was British, right?
Uh-huh. Here's a blonde Satana.
Ooh. You're going to send that to me, right?
Sure, be right ahead. Keep checking the mailbox.
I will, every day. As I try to hop up to it.
Here's Blade and Morbius.
Ooh. Oh, thank God. I thought there was a price sticker stuck on the book.
And there's Masters of Terror. I think this is issue number 16.
Number 16.
Hodiah Twist. I have no idea who that is, but cool.
All right, so that should do it for this round.
All right, fantastic. Well, dare I show what I've messed around with? And will our two visitors recognize any of these guys? I wonder.
Are they pictures of Breen? Oh, it is.
So, Froggy and Puppetine, do you recognize any of these characters?
Well, the guy in the middle, that's Engeltine.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And I can't tell if that's Breen on the right or on the left.
I do know Telly Savalas, yes.
Yeah. So on the left is Robert Culp.
That's cool. That's Kolchak.
If you remember I Spy with Bill Cosby. And then there was a TV show in the 80s called The Greatest American Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Robert Culp was in that. James Mason might be a little too old for you two. And then up in the top is Aldo Ray.
James Mason is the villain in the greatest movie of all time, which if I weren't, smoking a heater right now, you could see in the background behind my couch, North by Northwest.
All I gotta know is who is that dame?
I guess her name is Doris. I did not manipulate her, but I decided that I would like to have some fun with the 1977 Spider-Man TV show.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, big fans, right? I thought I'd take Robert Culp and I would slowly transform him into Bullseye.
Wow, that's really cool.
And I would take James Mason. And I thought with his receding hairline, a good schemer might be in order. And Aldo Ray, I thought, would make a great hammerhead. And so I've put it off long enough. Here you go. The 1977 movie that should have been.
Oh my gosh. He kind of looks more like a little bit like an old man Namor.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks awesome.
So you can make your own backstory. I think Hammerhead and the Schemer were trying to muscle out the Kingpin, but he's got Bullseye to help him. And poor Spider-Man is caught in the middle of it all. So
kind of feels like Spider-Man Noir.
Well, he could always just leave the comic and go take Marcia to the prom.
Yeah, right.
Anybody gets that one.
I will laugh because I don't know.
The Brady Bunch episode where Marcia gets her nose broken by the football.
Oh, is that one? Okay.
Nicholas Hammond played the cool guy at the school that was going to take her until her nose got broken, and then he broke the date.
That explains why wrestling keeps making the whole broken nose thing for chicks. Only Breen would probably get that.
For that matter, Savalas could have been a good Vulture too. But I was going for Kingpin. Oh well.
I think he would make a better Kingpin. If you were going to put him in a role, Kingpin was the one to do it.
Could be.
You did good, Mr. Man of Graphics.
Do you mind if I take this question there, Graphic?
Oh yeah. What did I already show it or this one?
No, the one that's up there now.
Okay.
My answer would be if you are buying the books to read and enjoy and keep, low grade is fine. If you're doing it as an investor, then go higher grade. But I said I've been doing this for 45 years, and condition has never been a prerequisite for me. I just like to have the books, and I figure as long as they look pretty decent in the back and bag and don't fall apart when I read it, that's the only way you can afford some books now.
Same here. It doesn't have to be like super awesome on the cover, Yeah, I do like, like near mint, but as long as I can read the story and the cover looks good, I mean, I've had books where the backs are gone.
So do I.
Yep. Are you stealing my backs? To cover your backs?
I've got your backs, Froggy.
Well, speaking of the opposite of backs, God Tank just likes the covers. God Tank, I like to specialize in books that look dynamite in the front, but in the back they could fall apart. So a lot of my books are misleading, I guess, in that, if you call it that.
You want really good covers? Check out all the Amazing Spider-Mans. Those are the first 100s are great. Breen has backs.
Oh boy.
Issues.
Never as true as this week. I've already been to the doctor once.
I am going to
Did he
have
tell
to
you to
get
go
a I'm going to have to get a drum beat rim shot sound effect because Maranya keeps telling a few here.
But
Yeah.
Well, Maranya takes advantage of the fact that she's 3 months younger than me.
Yeah, whenever you need to, you can just clip Pumpkin over there and just play that little video whenever you need to do a drum solo.
but
So, why do you think I'm always so happy when Hans is on?
Yeah.
Goober?
Yeah,
no, not the group. The Supergirl is getting to you, Froggy. Get it out. Get it out of your mind.
Hans is a gentleman we call Captain Strangelove.
The cousin of Dr. Strangelove.
It's like everyone but Breen has an awesome tag when they come on the show. Dr. Silver Age.
This is what he looks like normally. So
Very fit.
Yeah.
lately he's been wearing a hat. So
I wonder what his diet's like.
lots of tea, surprisingly. All right. Okay.
T-Bones?
I'll stall for Breen and I'll show a couple. Breen, here's a Grimm's Ghost Story.
Ooh.
In a House of Mirrors.
With George Washington.
Yes. These are very historic.
Are those the three fossils? You had them?
Could be. Could be. All right. Now, speaking of looking good in the front, but it might fall apart. Here's Tormented #1, 1954. From Sterling Comics, front cover by Mike Roy. Woo. And it looks a lot better than it is, trust me. So she doesn't want to be buried. Some people they want to put things off, I've noticed.
You could probably get an entire book of girls getting put into graves covers from that era.
So
I mean, it's better than getting books where they're being shoved into trunks.
yeah. Out of the Night #2. This is from ACG Comics, 1952. Cover by Ken Bald.
Damn, that is gorgeous.
And I told you there'd be some decapitation. Start off with DC. Manhunter, it doesn't really count. But I guess you can say it counts. But it's a little off-putting to...
His head, yes, it's a little off.
Yeah. Especially when they talk to you. It's one thing to have a head there. But... All right. These are the big ones. So... It's Decapitation, Strange Tales, #16, 1953.
Kill me.
Damn.
It's a very grim story.
I don't know. It looks like a very
Ooh.
grim story to me.
Do you see the blood on that? The blade? That's cool.
That is awesome.
That's graphic.
Very
Man.
graphic. And this is the highlight of the evening, 1953. This magazine is Haunted, #10. It's a good fishing cover. You know, if you guys like to go fishing. But he's...
That guy got ahead in life.
This is Dr. Death.
Ooh.
He's
And
ahead of the game.
the place he's fishing is not... The water is just terrible, but that's probably why, because this guy's in there. So that was the decapitation. If you remember last week, I showed this crazy thing. So there's 4
Ooh.
decapitations in a row. And
Wow.
now it'll be up to Breen to save the day, because I've pretty much gone through a lot of what I had.
I
All right,
can't.
Breen, put up or shut up.
And I said I already used my big gun decapitation cover last week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The granddaddy of all decapitation covers. But
Is that the word of the week? Decapitation covers?
Yeah,
That's
it's a good word.
We should spell it out for Breen.
Hey, I'm going to spell something out for you. EATHOT BEATH.
MICKEY. Mickey Mouse.
Why? Because we're regretting the decision to let you on. MOUSE. All right.
PISSOFF.
Hey, look, Ratu, your puppet is here.
He's getting pizza. And we're getting views.
Yeah, that's right. We're building up the whole. We're warming up the
That's
audience.
We're exposing ourselves to the world.
Now spectators telling the jokes. So all right, Eric, what do you got?
Okay. Now moving on to Monsters Unleashed. And once again, a Marvel magazine with an annual.
Ooh. He looks like he just wants to go in for a hug.
Man's best friend.
Here's Monsters Unleashed numero uno.
Wow.
Those
that
are crisp
great.
covers.
Yeah.
Shiny.
Well, I'll tell you what, these new bags can make any piece of crap look great.
Even the new DC books?
Okay, almost anything.
Better try putting it on yourself.
Here's issue 2, and it is in rough. Palpatine?
EAT.
I will remember that for as long as I can. This one's in terrible shape, but you can't tell through the cover, so it's.
Well, that's the
It's
thing.
like
Some of the stuff I just showed you was in Mylar, and it totally makes everything pop. Yeah.
Yeah, these have some of the same makeup as the Mylars. It kind of has the same sound and almost like 95% of the same look, but they're not nearly as expensive. The problem with these is they split very easily. There's number 3. Like those Dell Giants, I can't use them on those because they're the bags, even the Golden Age bags, literally are just not big enough.
Okay.
Which kind of unfortunate because I really like Dell Giants. Here's number 5, and I really love the way these books look.
Oh, now he's showing off his man thing. Great.
It just isn't a stream if Eric Breen isn't showing off his man thing.
Yeah. Here's number 6. Also,
Wow. Seeing a theme here, man.
Really, really bad shape, but
so is that woman on the ground.
Here's number 7.
Number 7.
Wow, creepy.
Whoever drew this cover didn't skimp on the chest area.
Outrage.
Here's number 8.
Number 8.
And
Now, Eric, would these Frankenstein you just showed, would that tie in to the at the time the ongoing comic, or are they separate? Of course, probably.
Not positive, but I do know there was in one of the Dracula Lives, there's a story there that ends up being continued in Werewolf by Night number 19. Here's number 9. So I don't know if it's tied in with the series because I know there's one of the Frankenstein stories was set in the present, and I think they ended up moving the series to the present at one point. Here's a Monsters Unleashed with a tiger story in it.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, like a giant panther or something.
Didn't get the cover, but let's see. And then last but not least for this round, Marvel gets in on the Exorcist craze. Number 11.
Ooh.
Nice. He's got an eye patch too. He's a pirate.
Yeah, Trey's right. Is it Earl Norm, I believe his name was? Best magazine painter this side of Frank Frazetta.
Seems like I've heard this one before. I think Evil Black Cat's done that earlier.
He
Well,
was
not
Is
on
he
this
doing your jokes? Oh, no.
He's counting on his audience being
No,
so
okay.
old that they've forgotten.
or the
We
panel.
never forget.
It's,
All right.
We
There's
don't
only
need to hear about his dating history.
I don't have access to it right now, but there is one book I did pick up today, and it's the first issue of a 12-issue miniseries for DC by James Tynion. It's the DC versus Vampires. And I'm usually the guy when it comes to that. I want to wait till a trade, but I saw the stock variant cover, and it's basically Batman like a vampire with the fangs and the blood. I was like, dang it! It's only like $4, but Adventures of Vampirella, which I got to. But yeah, my sister's not around here, and I don't have hands to really pick up books.
You don't really have hands at all. They're like little stubs.
I'm disabled. Leave me alone, you bastard.
You just didn't. You didn't think this through, did you, Froggy?
He doesn't think a lot.
I was here by contract.
By contract.
Yeah,
Graphic Man gave you a contract?
yeah, to take out Breen.
Oh no. I don't think you're succeeding. He's still here.
But I'm not sure if he wants me to kill him or take him to dinner.
That's a date I'd need to see.
Oh, thank God. Somebody finally muted Breen.
I think he did that himself.
Oh, did it? Oh, thank you, Breen.
Froggy, can you drive?
People crazy, yes. But
Yeah.
not legally.
No.
Yeah, I'd like to thank all of my fellow fossils for stiffing us tonight. Really, thanks, guys.
What can they say except you're welcome?
Maybe they hired us.
Oh, that could be it. That could be the story. We can't let them know, though.
I'll never tell again.
Strange Life in Silver Age probably tuned in and said, I'm not going anywhere near this.
Maybe there's something in the water, and that's why they're not here.
They're putting chemicals in the water that turns the froggies gay.
Oh, dear.
I know. Are you okay, Froggy?
Well, I was depressed until I drank the water, and now I'm happy.
Right, because when we say gay on this show, we're talking about happy because most of our books are in the 50s.
Yes.
Yep. That is true. I mean, when you take him to the dinner, like, you just roam in his wheelchair down to in the part of the nursing home where they feed him, right?
You can see Eric look away to that baseball score.
Braves are getting boat race tonight.
Uh-oh.
That is funny, though. If the Dodgers do win, are they going to celebrate from inside their houses because they're locked in?
Well, if the Dodgers win, there'll be an investigation since they got knocked out the round before.
Oh. I mean, it's just like voting in California. You still win.
I am totally out of the field here. I am off field. That's a term, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
You're
This
out.
is what I know about sports by Puppeteed. Nothing.
That's concise and to the point.
So what's on Meet TV? We get the Wilma Report on Saturday nights. What's on tonight on Meet TV, Breen?
I don't know. I usually have sports on the other night, so I don't even look. I know that late at night, one of them shows Perry Mason, Twilight Zone, and Alfred Hitchcock Presents.
They don't do the Night Stalker anymore?
That's Saturday nights.
Oh.
Alfred Hitchcock.
No Matlock either?
Oh, here's a trailer for Hawkeye.
Which one? The girl?
Well, I guess they're both in it.
Yeah.
Only one can be Hawkeye. Fight to the death.
Maybe. What?
They probably will.
Oh, this is definitely Matt Fraction's Hawkeye.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Did you see the
passed.
dog?
Yeah, that's a hard pass.
But it'll be a complete pass. That's a sports reference, right?
I think so. I don't
There
know.
won't be an interception.
Yeah, it's
Automatic cars? Yeah.
Kent Colvey.
Yes, it's for about 3 minutes.
This one doesn't move. Why doesn't this move? Oh, it clicks.
No. This isn't a ticker, Froggy. It's a comment. So when you comment, yes, this is what people are saying in the live chat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm used to recordings.
No recording here. We are live, straight from our studio.
Yes, Puppeteen, I've noticed your shows are taped, and you put a nice little ending on there, and you can do that because you're taped. Have you considered trying it live?
We did that once, and we got in trouble for having hostages.
Oh no. Well, we do some of our shows live, some of our comic book readings live. We just did Werewolf by Night issue 32 this last Sunday, I believe, right?
First appearance of Moon Knight. Yep.
Yes. And we're going to be getting that out. I think we're going to have this next Friday. We're going to do that live before we go to England Teen Loves Comics for Dead Man, where Breen will make his startling debut.
Yeah. Are you gonna be the dead man, or are you gonna be the narrator?
That's a good question. I mean, it's has to be a Black Cat. Dead Man's a little, on the nose. Yeah, so
As long as you don't go too far towards the light. So turn that light off by you. Turn it off. Don't go by it. Actually, stay away from it.
Stay away from the light, Breen. It's right there. We can see it, but ignore the temptation.
As he picks up a box of Pringles and Triscuits.
I just go towards the refrigerator light for another snack.
He does not eat Pringles on this channel. He must save that just for the auctions or something.
It's always off camera. We never seen
on here.
Well, little known fact: Ingleton does not like when people do stuff like eat or make noises.
Oh, that's not a little known fact. Anything he doesn't like, everybody knows because he'll tell you over and over and over. And I'm amazed that he gets people eating in front of him drives him nuts. The noise, but that bird just goes on and on and on, and he just
tweet.
I was lucky when I came from my puppet universe. I let the bird fry. Mm-hmm.
Fly or fry?
Fry. There's an R there.
You committed murder?
No. Well, you see, when you're traveling into another realm, you have to be willing to sacrifice some things. And so on the way, you just toss them out of the portal. It's okay.
I'm never traveling with you again.
That's a wise decision.
Yeah,
This
Graphic,
just
we
in.
could probably go across the street and have dinner right now. They're fine on their own.
Don't you guys get Meals on Wheels?
Maybe in that time, Gratu will show up.
Yeah, we're thinking frog legs.
Oh,
Joke's on you. I got no legs.
Oh,
I
I guess
sold,
we
I
already had
sold them
dinner.
for. I sold them for comic books.
I think Gratu is staying away.
Oh,
stay away.
no, Gratu and Puppetine, they're
Oh, sure. Yeah.
they're a new Burns and Allen.
We were vibing, man. That's what all the kids say these days, I think.
Yeah.
Fried frog legs. Yes.
They're Burns and Shriver.
Every new subscriber gets a jar of pickled herring.
Nobody wants that. Nobody.
By the way, Eric, I tried to send you a couple of posters, and the guy at the counter does not think the town you live in is a legitimate town. His computer did not show it on his screen. I'm not going to say too much more for privacy reasons, but I have to go find a different. It was a neighborhood grocer post office, so. But I've sent you stuff before, no problem.
Yeah, but no, that's it depending on who annexes what. I mean, sometimes we're considered Latonia, sometimes we're considered Covington.
That was the name the computer kept wanting to send it to.
What, Covington?
Would that have been okay?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I said no. I'll take it back. Try again the next day. So
Yeah, I don't know why they, either one should be fine. I mean, I don't know, but I guess maybe some places they, it makes sense. I mean, if they only have one, they only recognize one name, but when I guess ownership of the town goes back and forth, I guess that.
all right. Well, I think the last time I sent you was UPS, and this time it was regular post office, and regular post office isn't up to speed like UPS apparently. North Pole, yeah.
It's ironic. The Pony Express was faster.
Well, you just have to mark it down for Bedrock.
Oh no, that's because bringing was actually faster back in the day.
Yeah, Maranian, I miss those letters you used to send me on them.
Oh dear.
This is the show now.
I've been far too nice to her for far too long.
When Marania says go, he'll go towards the light because she'll force him there.
In the town of Bedrock.
Well, Eric, do you have anything else? Because I was counting on at least 4 more people showing up, and that's all. I was already kind of depleted because we've done these spooky things 2 weeks before.
Ooh. Let's see. Up there.
Froggy, do your little floating thing. Go. Ooh. Ooh, spooky. You are terrified.
I can show you an Archie comic I just got recently. But
yeah, show us.
All right. And the crowd will go wild. Not in the greatest shape, but check out Veronica's Waffle Pockets. I think they're waffle pockets. Jughead's doing his Biden impersonation. And, Pop Tate, or whatever his name is, back there with Betty.
Groovy.
Wait, pull it up again. 15 cents for ice cream?
Yeah.
Yeah, it pops.
Ooh. 75 cents. And then was it $1 or something?
That's for a split, probably.
Ooh.
There. That was riveting, wasn't it?
Now we might have to go off topic here before it's done.
Yeah.
You've already gone off.
Yeah,
topic.
when we joined up.
No.
All right, here's a Tales of the Zombie Annual. I love that cover.
Yeah.
Chilling.
Here's the first issue of the actual series. Let's pull all of them out here. Here's number 3.
Number 3.
Wow, missed these. Thought I'd rebag this. Here's number 4.
Number 4.
Does he have the magazine to himself, or does he share it with someone?
I believe there's other features in here.
Okay.
I saw James Bond.
Yeah. Here's okay. Here's number 2.
Number
They
2.
got
Going back.
out of order too.
And The Walking Dead.
No, she's laying down. She's
No.
laying dead.
It said Walking Dead first appearance.
Here's number 5. Number 5.
Number 5.
There's number 6.
Number 6.
Number 8.
8.
Number
I said
8.
it first.
Skipping 7 because it's great.
No, these are just hideously out of order. Here's number
No.
7.
Number
Oh,
7.
okay.
We're in heaven.
Not that girl.
No,
Well,
she's
soon to
in
be.
Here's number 9.
These are
Number
awesome.
9.
Every one of these is fantastic.
His invitation got lost. in
Now,
the
these are
mail.
all black and white interiors?
Yes. Here's number 10.
Number 10. Tell a friend because
And-
these all look great.
And let's see, we'll do one more quick series here. After the Tomb of Dracula comic was canceled, it continued in a Tomb of Dracula movie. There's number 1.
Number 1.
Here's number 2.
Number 2.
Number 3.
Number 3.
Number 4.
Number 4. Ooh.
You just saw it. I didn't encourage him at all.
Go eat the big one. Number 5.
Number 5.
I feel like Puppeteen's been taking a little bit of hits behind the scenes.
And here's number 6.
Number 6.
The special last issue.
Just for kicks.
All right. That'll do it for this round.
Oh, dear.
This is a tough crowd.
Yeah.
All right. And just like that, our show's become The Walking Dead.
I don't know. I don't think it's gone on too long.
10,000 comedians out of work, and one of them finds a home in this chat.
Oh, thank goodness. I don't know if I've ever been happier to hear Gratu's on the way. I hope he brought some books.
I mean, I told you our joke writers are they're striking right now. They can't get replacements.
I don't know what you mean. I've been using all the material I was given. Whether or not it was good material, that's up for debate.
Explains why you didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, he makes me pay for it every single time.
Oh, trust me, when you're joking, Venkman, we all pay for it.
Who's Venkman?
I know, no, Venkman.
Froggy.
He is a frog.
He's a swell guy. That's who he is. He's a swell guy.
Hey, Breen, why don't you hop off permanently?
Oh no, jeez, calm down.
Cold.
Just like you in the morning.
No, congratulations, Zach. It only took him an hour and 15 minutes to find us.
Yeah, I know.
It's probably because I shared this in the Discord.
Oh.
That's right, yeah, because I tweeted this out, but I guess Zach wouldn't see it there, would he?
I think he had a church tonight.
I think he did.
Wait a minute. Mort Saul was alive until today?
Who? What about Salt?
Mort Saul.
Morton Salt? Oh.
No, not Morton Salt. Mort Saul.
Why do you need more?
Boy,
I don't know why anybody wants any more.
Yeah, where are these writers? I'll pay them to come back.
He was 99, says Chuck White.
Oh, only one away.
It says here 94.
What?
Yeah, it looks like he was 94.
One of them's fake news.
Yeah. Like I said, I had no idea he was still alive.
The betrayal. He could have joined us for Stargirl, Froggy.
Yeah. Instead, he decided to play the Guardians of the Galaxy video game instead of joining us.
What a low blow. Jeez. If
For those
puppets had
of you-
feelings, I'd be hurt.
For those of you just tuning in, our regularly scheduled program is slightly different tonight.
We're all on
This
drugs.
is
Slightly?
Slightly different, yes. Usually Eric and I have the puppets talking to each other, but tonight is Comic Book Frog and Puppet Team. Guys, go ahead and plug your when's your next big broadcast coming up?
Well, actually, pretty soon. We're going to have to do as Froggy does and hop soon because we have to watch Batwoman and we're going to review that. I believe about 10:30. The EST. That'll be the time that it is planned. I think. Let me check the clock.
You know, you don't have to watch that show.
But I do.
Oh, okay.
I have to suffer for.
Suffer. You're the one saying, I love Batwoman.
You won't see those words ever leaving my lips.
You have lips?
I've got less than 6 months to make 30 years of sobriety, so I'm not going to start watching Batwoman now.
I was really worried when you said I have less than 6 months. What the heck are you talking about?
You know, when Grantu said Link, you should have replied Zelda. What?
No.
And he brings up camera to do some lines.
Is that a video game reference?
It is. It's an all new Nintendo Low.
Oh.
And you picked the one stream on YouTube where half the people wouldn't get that.
You guys have never heard of Legend of Zelda?
Well, we've heard of it, but we didn't know it was a game.
Life is a game. Sometimes you're doomed to keep repeating your mistakes over and over and over again.
Yeah, well, LK, the difference between Evil Black Cat and other people who disparage me is you don't have to tee anything up for him. He can come up with his all by himself. In fact, if I tee him up for him, I'll probably just pass on him just to be kind.
That's right. We should be hiring Evil Black Cat, Froggy. We need a new writer.
You know,
do it.
He's welcome to come on and review shows with us if he wants to, but who would watch us then?
Nah, that is true.
We can't have all of our audience in the chat or in our little panel.
We do that. All of our videos go down to 0 views.
Or negative.
You can't get negative. Can't get negative. So it's gone so far as to nobody watches to less than nobody watches.
No, it goes down into China. See, the farther it goes down, people in China start watching it.
Hello, Gratu.
Hey there.
Hi.
How you doing?
Doing great. Well, most of us anyway.
He's
Half
got
of
the
us?
he's got the psychedelic lights on tonight.
Yeah, and it's painful. I think I'm starting. My eyes are starting to go. I can't even driving at night. Cars talking about being old. People going around me because it's like everyone looks like they have their bright lights on. Everything's too bright. I gotta.
Is it stuck on? Like, is it a feature you can't disable it?
It's just my eyes. It's old age. I guess.
Well, I was talking about the psychedelic lights, not your eyes.
Oh yeah, I have it on because it's Halloween, right?
Ah,
Well, I always have it on anyway.
Gratu a go-go.
All that stuff that I haven't seen the whole show, but the stuff you were showing, Eric, that's real important parts of my childhood. All those Marvel magazines. Is my mom, I guess she had read all this stuff in the 50s about comics being bad and so I don't know. So when I was fascinated with monsters since I was a little kid, and so whenever I'd see these monster magazines on the newsstand, I'd bring them up to her and ask if I could buy this, and she'd flip through it, and she'd usually say no to the Warren magazines. The Marvel ones, she's let me get surprisingly a lot of those because they weren't quite as naughty, or it didn't go quite as far. And that and the question about the monster Frankenstein in the comic book versus in Monsters Unleashed, I think they established that those stories that were in it seemed like the stories in the comic were like in the Victorian era, right? As I recall, and then I remember in Monsters Unleashed it said Frankenstein 1972. It was like today or 73. Yes. It was probably 73.
They did put him into the present, I think, in the end of the comic book series, because remember he showed up in an issue of Marvel Team Up.
And the Avengers, was he on a cover of the Avengers?
Well, he was plucked from the dead in that storyline, but he was in 2 issues of Team Up with Man Wolf.
Right.
And then he showed up in a few issues of Iron Man and like the 1-0 somethings.
I just want to say, was he plucked from the dead just like you, Breen? When you come on a stream, you're plucked from the dead?
Oh, see, now you've gone in. I was going to ask Gratu if his fascination with monsters is why he streams with Breen so often.
Oh, okay.
See, now
I just thought it was a normal thing for all little boys to be into monsters, but apparently it isn't. I think most sane boys are into it, but I don't know. From when I was real little, I mean, I was buying Ghosts and the DC and House of Mystery. It was a year or two later before I discovered the superheroes. Really, I was just buying the monster stuff, the horror stuff, and like Dennis the Menace and that kind of stuff. But
see, when I was right before I got into comics, I got into monster magazines. So I was buying. Do you remember a magazine called Man, Myth, and Magic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was buying that and Monster Times, and then famous monsters, of course, in like Monster World, and then Marvel had one called Monsters in the Movies. Well, Curtis had one. I wished I'd kept them, but like an idiot, I cut them out and made scrapbooks out of them and stuff. And
well, I think Guandanaland has discovered that when they changed the logo slightly on the Monster Times, they forgot the copyright logo. So I think he's doing a book of the last 20 issues of the Monster Times, but he's warning that the print's going to be pretty small because it's a tabloid that has to be shrunk to that size. And so that's definitely the Monster Times was one of the most wonderful things when that disappeared in 1976, it was just kind of like the country was dying. And when the Holiday Inn signs, those wonderful Holiday Inn neon signs went away, that was another sign of the death throes. And when Castle of Frankenstein went out of business. I've never owned a slab. I don't believe in it, but this guy came in, and that was he apparently bought a slab of the Dick Briefer 50s Frankenstein, and he was like selling it for nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and get it from him on Saturday. And it's a 5.5 condition copy, I think, of Frankenstein 24. I was just thinking, I don't want a slabbed comic, but then that might look good with my Frankenstein memorabilia.
Yeah,
and just have it. But I would never buy any other slab. And I'm helping him out because I think he's kind of between homes. I'm not saying he's homeless, but pretty darn close. And he paints recreations of comic book covers that are pretty good. And I'm going to get one of the Hulk versus what was the swamp creature the Hulk fought, the Glop or the Glorp or something. What's that?
He's got it as well. It's like Brain Jr.
Glob.
Right now.
Glob. You can't see it, but it's
It's on your
I'm
wall.
looking really closely.
But anyway, so
that's my second
I actually
comic.
have a slab comic. I'm going to do a video at some point with an unboxing. Meyer Greenblatt, thank you, Meyer, if you're out there. Watch, I'm sure you are, for sending that, and I'll do a video. I just never have any damn time to do anything lately. But I've got some good stuff to show when I do the show. I don't know if I should do a live stream or a regular show, but I got some stuff to show. I hold a box in the other room.
Yeah, I'm with you on slabs. I'm always tempted to break open a slab because I like just looking through the book.
I was saying the same thing. I think that if I was rich, I would have a YouTube channel where I just maybe someone's already done this, where I freed books and I bought the slabs and I just cracked them open and and all the idiots would freak out,
Pretty much. There's a guy. We have a friend, Douglas Ernst. He'll take these classic comic books and he'll be out to dinner and he'll have the plate so close to the book. So when he's eating, he'll take a video of it just to trigger people.
Yeah, there used to be this gag gift they would sell at the gag stores in the 70s, but they sold it at Six Flags Over Texas, and it was a Dr. Pepper can on its side, and then they had a fake plastic spill with bubbles that looked completely realistic, like they had somehow encased a soft drink spill in plastic. And,
that's cool.
And then you just lay it down on anything, and it looks like you've spilled Dr. Pepper. And everyone's waving, or what's going on?
Yeah, because Gotham City said hello, and I was just
okay. I thought you were trying to tell me I have spinach in my teeth.
No.
I don't think you can see from the light blinding you.
Oh, Gotham City Comics, thank you for ordering from my friends created an independent comic, and he ordered a bunch of the comics for his store. But my friend, there's a couple that are friends of mine. She used to shop at or at least has been in there a few times because she lived in Arizona. So anyway, I have no idea what I was talking about.
Slabbing books and breaking them open.
Yeah, but then there was something else. I
think you're going to show up your books too. I don't know.
Yeah, I had some very philosophical point I was going to make. But, this is
Was it Eat at Joe's? Something we see.
I could think what it was, but what I did sometimes do on my show is if I'm doing a live show, I get out my phone and I'll rewind to the show and listen to what I just said. It's fucking.
Sometimes I want to do that on our streams. Just rewind it.
I gotta watch my language. This is my earliest famous monsters, which is from something. I have all the lights turned off to be cool, and now I can't see a damn thing, man.
That's what Froggy does.
September 62. I really should have the lights on. This is freaking nuts.
Tales of
This,
Terror.
You know, people that are older than me that actually saw this on the newsstand when it came out. There was this guy that said when he was a kid, he saw it. He thought that, it says, read about the man who saw King Kong 90 times. He thought that was the guy that had seen it 90 times. It happened to him because of it. So, and it's easy to think that.
Okay, Spectator says, was it something about the fall of civilization in 1976?
Oh, yeah, I was talking about things that went away. Castle of Frankenstein, Castle of Frankenstein was a brilliantly written magazine that was published by the real Norman Bates, literally. I probably told the story a million times.
I thought you were referring to in 76 is when the barcodes started showing up on comics.
That too, the barcodes. But when it was a few years later, that was the early 80s, they took all the Holiday Inn signs down. Oh, no, I was talking about the fake Dr. Pepper spill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the little gag gift you could get. It's not effective anymore because the Dr. Pepper can, it was a real Dr. Pepper can, but now the design is much different than it was in 75. But what you could do is like get your Hulk 181 and then put this. It's fun. I've done it before. I think I've done it on my show. But not that I have 180, not 180.
I would do it to a reprint and make people believe it's the original.
Well, there's a great photo I have somewhere of this dog in its mouth. It's got Amazing Fantasy 15.
Oh, no.
I don't know if it's a staged photo where they got a reproduction and let the dog play with it, but it's somewhere. It's online.
You want to talk about horrifying?
There's a famous, real famous comic that's actually legitimate. I think it's a Spider-Man #1 or something. But this woman was sick of her husband, and they were getting a divorce, and she wrote all this horrible, obscene stuff in marker all over the front and back cover.
Oh no!
And now it's legendary. It's like, I hope you bluffing die, and now I don't know. There's articles that have been written about. This guy that I'm getting this slab from he's about 7 years older than me, I guess. And so, you know, he was buying comics during the Silver Age as a kid. And he said he bought all his comics from vending machines. And he was telling me that, you know, when comics went up to 20 cents, he kind of stopped buying them because they were too expensive. So that's kind of the era he was buying in. And I said, from vending machines, are you sure? And I looked it up online, and there's 2 photographs of vending machines. They're blue, and it says 12 cents, and they come down just like candy bars. And you would put your coins in there, and you'd slide it in and out, and then a comic would fall. And I was reading what people were saying about it in the chat, and they said that it seemed like they were centered mainly around Missouri. They didn't get much farther out. This guy said he was growing up in Louisiana, and they had these vending machines for comics. And I'd never heard this in my life. I'd never heard this, because he said that he was trying to get Conan #3, and he had to, but you could see the comics behind them, because it was the comic, and then the comic behind it was different, and you had to keep buying the comics and waiting for or if you hit it really hard, you could make a comic fall. But have you guys ever heard of comic book vending machines?
No, but I bet Eric has.
It sounds like when you used to get the newspapers, something like that, kind of.
No, I never have.
It's more like candy bars. They would actually fall. the little.
They weren't rolled up, were they? Like,
I
like posters, because that I don't know how they would work without it ripping. It's
easy to find. If you just type in comic book vending machine, graphic man, you could probably get a photo and put it up on the screen.
Okay.
That sounds painful looking at it as it gets stuck, and then your comic book will come out.
Yeah, yeah, and on the spiral things, if it got
Ooh.
caught on one of the edges, ooh, oof, ouch, owie, that hurts.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was a revelation to me. Here's another beautiful Famous Monsters cover.
Monster.
The problem is, I was in this supermarket last night, and they used to have the biggest, like, whole aisle of magazines. Then it shrunk down to just
Mhm.
one little thing, and now it's completely gone.
I used to get my comic books back in the '90s that way. Yeah, they still had some spinner racks, but they also were just now it's all bridal magazines.
Yeah, well, they're just pretty much becoming non-existent, or they're these $15-$20. They're really kind of like halfway books that about event in history or
The only comics that you'll find in a supermarket of any sort of normalcy is a RG Reader Digest.
Yeah, the Archie. Yep.
RG
that's
Digest.
even hard to find those now. Let's see. There's the covers were just gorgeous, and this is
That is nice.
something that's like missing from life today. Oh,
Yeah.
The Castle of Frankenstein. The thing about it is the logo was just kind of copied or traced from the logo used on the 50s Dick Briefer comic book Frankenstein. So that's another reason why this slab is so cool to me, is it's that Castle of Frankenstein logo. Castle of Frankenstein was brilliantly written. This magazine was beautiful to look at. It had amazing art design. The photos were unparalleled because Forrest J. Ackerman had this huge collection of photographs. But he wrote it because he knew he was writing to 9-year-olds, and he tried to be funny with little puns, and he wasn't funny. He was just funny as the average comic book store owner trying to be funny, and it wasn't funny. And it was and even 9-year-olds just couldn't stand it. But Castle of Frankenstein was written in a very literate way, and Monster Times was also really very much up there. And but there was a guy that put out Castle of Frankenstein, Calvin Beck, that had this crazy mom that followed him everywhere he went, that would audit his college classes and sit in the classes with him, wanted to go to the parties with him. So Richard Matheson, there you go.
There it is.
So
nice.
I've only been able to see 2 pictures of this online. I don't know how many exist.
I would hate it.
But what?
If unless you can get to it and it's not too dinged up, if I don't know.
Well, that condition there is perfectly acceptable to me.
Yeah, I fear, but the one on the top row, it's got a long fall ahead of it.
Oh, you mean you would hate getting a comic out of it?
Right.
Oh, yeah, but think about how kids got their comics at 7-Eleven spinner racks, and kids would come and they'd paw through them, and they'd break the spines of all the comics trying to see what's back behind them, and they'd get sun bleached in the window of the convenience store, and
then put their baseball cards in their bikes, so that way it sounds like a
beautiful ads. I mean, this was just
nice ads.
If it wasn't for the Kennedy assassination and LBJ coming in and ramping up the Vietnam War, the 50s were wonderful, and the 60s would have been just as wonderful. But the world, the United States, took a different path, and bad things happened with LBJ, and I don't think our country's ever recovered.
I want to take this opportunity to talk to God Tank, who says he just picked up X-Men 40 with the first Frankenstein. It reminded me a few years ago, I had some fun with that cover, and I turned it into Solomon Grundy.
Yeah, that's cool. That makes sense. Yeah, that's true. I guess that would be the first Frankenstein. Now, Tales of the Zombie and Werewolf by Night actually were they started in the 50s as stories in those. There was a story in like Strange Tales or one of those horror books called Werewolf by Night. And there was the original zombie story was also from the 50s, and they reprinted it, I think, in that first Tales of the Zombie. So they're up. Yeah, so those two monsters go back to the 50s. This is that a photograph or a painting? I think that a friend of mine had owned some of these Basil Gogos paintings.
That's
And,
Tony Dow.
Huh?
Tony Dow?
Was Tony Dow my friend?
No, that
Tony
cover.
Dow here. Whoa, shit.
No, the other one. Yeah.
This one is Tony Dow. Is that what you're saying?
Well, on a bad day, yeah.
I'm not sure I see that. But there used to be a local commercial here, I guess in the late 70s, with Jerry Mathers, the beaver. Yep. And he looked straight into the camera, sincerely, just like he was a 10-year-old kid, because this persona when he was playing the beaver. But I remember watching that commercial for 30 seconds, and he never blinked, and his eyes were wide open. And I thought, that's really weird. He doesn't blink, trying to look all wholesome and gee willikers. It's like,
hey!
I'm not knocking him. I love Leave It to Beaver, but I think he blinked back in the show.
You can't disparage us guys who can't blink. It's not that we don't want to.
Yeah, the whole time we were talking the other night, I didn't really understand that you were a separate entity than Englantine. I thought that Englantine actually was.
No, I am not Englantine. I am Puppetine. I am my own thing.
I realized that later. I was just thinking, because I just thought, well, I don't know why I thought that.
Well, what happened is that
changing his voice.
Englantine moved to a different house, and then Puppetine moved in.
Yep. This is his old place, so I just made sure to keep all this stuff.
Well, I shouldn't give away the secret, but that's why it's chroma keyed, is because you're trying to simulate. Okay, I get it. Because I was thinking, why would you have a chroma keyed background that's normal? Why instead of a volcano erupting or something? Unless you're trying to hide people chained up behind you, so it's just, I'll make it look normal.
Well, we can't talk about those people.
Sorry, I didn't. I'm just now picking up the joke.
Well, like, that's the thing.
Green first introduced me to Englantine. I had no idea how really important he's been in the history of the last 10 years with all the stuff that's gone on. I didn't really know who he was, because I don't know what's going on in the world. And then I realized, wow, that is a really important guy that was calling into my show. I didn't get it. But yeah, I love his channel and you guys' channels and all the in-between stuff. This was I remember seeing this when I was in third grade. Some kid they were having a paper drive, and I remember this was this issue, and I was like, this is being thrown away. And
those look like those gummy bears you get.
I think they're trying to be Andy Warhol-ish here. I think that's their goal.
Different flavored heads.
I didn't remember I forgot the story. So anyway, not Richard Math. Psycho's written by Robert Bloch. Okay, so Robert Bloch was friends, with a group of like kind of like we have friends that are all into the same stuff, and it's always been that way. Like the guy that put out this magazine, Ray Harryhausen, was a member of a science fiction fan club in Los Angeles in '72, and they would have meetings, and he would hang out with Ray Bradbury and Ray Harryhausen all before they went on to be writers or special effects people, and then Forrest J. Ackerman, that edited this magazine, would go on to be an agent for writers, science fiction writers and stuff. But there's little communities of guys that hang out, into the same stuff and have a fellowship. Well, the guy that made Castle of Frankenstein magazine in the 60s was part of a group that socialized with Robert Bloch, And when Robert Bloch wrote Psycho, he was writing it about Calvin Beck primarily, not Ed Gein, which was partly the Ed Gein, bit, but and apparently everybody knew it, including Calvin Beck, that he was the real Norman Bates, because so the mom was just nuts, and he kind of was like Norman Bates. But anyway, this is a great cover. Oh, that's the thing that that would bother my mom is when this issue's from. This is. Let me see here. Let's say I brought this up and had my mom. Is it okay to buy this? She would absolutely say no from the cover, even though this is a pretty innocent 50s horror movie.
That's the Amazing Colossal Man, right?
Yeah, the thing that bothered her more than anything was injuries to eyes. And so I remember there was a cover of the Monster Times where there were two knives going into the sockets of skulls. It was a Theater of Blood poster, Vincent Price, and there was blood coming down. So I wasn't able to get that issue. And I think it was because, I was born in 1965 and my brothers were 10 years older than me. And at one point when my oldest brother was a baby in the 1950s, he was flailing around, and I guess his little baby thumbnail scratched against my mom's eye. And so she was real sensitive to eye injury. And of course, that was a big thing in Frederick Wortham's Seduction of the Innocent was injuries to the eyes. They did that in a lot of those crime comics. So anyway, if they were poking anyone's eyes out in these, creepy or eerie books, I wasn't able to get them. Surprisingly, she let me get an issue of Vampirella that was really. They had a story where just some woman's being stabbed. I don't think she really looked at that one thoroughly.
Really?
Yeah, I was in second grade. Vampirella.
What? Vampirella is a very strong, independent woman.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Vampirella that's in these books now is nothing to do with the Vampirella. That, as far as I want to read the books, but it does not look like it's the same.
The main title. Oh, you little.
Yeah.
I'll point out the Vampy though is like in Christopher Priest's run. The main title is garbage. As Brina Priest said numerous times, The Vengeance of Vampirella is actually a continuation of the Harris story by Tom Sinofsky. He actually continued a story that he left off on pause 25 years later, and is now he's able to continue. He's got 2 more issues.
Okay,
and it's really good. It's her basically rescuing the world from the goddess Chaos is basically the daughter of the Chaos Lords.
Yeah, I saw there's the cover. She's like a roller girl this week or month.
There's different ones out there. There's multiple just for Dynamite does for gimmicks and all.
I guess I don't really like the art. I mean, when compared to the art that's in the old Warren books by these wonderful Spanish artists.
Nibres? Was it Rudy Nibres?
In the original books, there's mainly a guy named Jose Gonzalez. Really created Vampirella, and if Vampirella should look like a Latina, like a woman from Spain. She should look Hispanic or Spanish, because the models that she always looked that way. And I mean, in that poster that Graphic Man altered, she just doesn't have white skin, and she's very. Anyway, the book was basically she hung out with a guy that was a descendant of Van Helsing, right?
Yeah,
guy, and then there was a younger guy that was her love interest. And she was from another planet, and she didn't want to kill people or hurt people, but she had to have blood to survive because it flowed in the rivers on her home planet. And so she was like a junkie. They came up with something where she'd have to inject herself so she wouldn't hurt anyone. And then she had adventures fighting against Dracula. I remember Dracula, turns out, was actually from her home planet, and then these different cults and stuff. And it was just It was
Yeah,
just it was
that
a
was the
TNA
Harris.
strip, but there was some substance to it.
The Harris stories from 1994 actually continued that, and on Michael Van Helsing, he was a senator, but he's also her lover, and she had yeah.
They made him a senator. Okay,
Yeah, he was a senator. Yeah,
in the original magazines, it was Adam Van Helsing, and the older guy was Pendragon,
that's right,
a magician of
wait.
Great renown.
Yeah, he is Adam. I miss Adam. I don't know why I said Michael. Adam. Yeah, it is Adam.
20 years since I read them, so I've forgotten.
But
yeah.
I would check those, and then there was Vampiro Strikes. The Harris books were decent, Yeah, and these new ones are hit and miss. A lot of them are like, there's one that's basically a same story as a Red Sonja. They had Red Sonja Verso, where it's multiple Red Sonjas against each other. Now they have a Vampiverse. Same thing, same story.
I see she's become a superhero in like a superhero group in one of those comics. But
yeah, there was one with Project Superpowers. They recruited her, but they recruited the one from 1966, her world, and they just were very prejudiced towards her because she's a vampire. She kept calling her a vampire. She's like, I'm not a vampire. Throughout the whole entire series, Dan Abnett is the writer. I believe Brainy. I believe you read that, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a problem with that because I said they were using, they had the rights to her at Dynamite, and they were using a lot of the public domain characters from the 50s.
And there were other characters like Eerie started like creepy, but then in the 70s they started creating weird superheroes, and they had all these different superheroes in Eerie. But none of them really took off. Vampirella was the main one, but there was another character that crossed over with Vampirella in the Warren magazines, and he got his own magazine he was called The Rook, and he was that character would really make a good movie or TV show. He was a time traveling guy. He was from, as I recall, he's from the present, but he dressed up like a cowboy guy. 6 shooters, and he had this time machine that was shaped like a rook chess piece, and he had a robot that was with him that wore a cowboy hat, and it's like they went back to the Battle of the Alamo, and he brought back his great-great-grandfather before he was killed at the Battle of the Alamo, and he becomes his sidekick. So there's 3 of them, as I recall. And there was that one issue where they teamed up with Vampirella. I mean, that's the stuff I remember that I thought was wonderful. And there was a terrible Vampirella movie made by Showtime, but then there was a movie that came out in theaters, a John Landis movie. And when I watched, no one remembers this movie, but when I watched it, I thought, this really feels like a Vampirella movie. It was called Innocent Blood. And it was this vampire, and she thought, well, I've got to I'll feed on gangsters and the mafia. So I'll just only kill bad people. And so
Isabella Rossellini.
Was it her? But to me, I thought if they'd just thrown a Vampirella suit on her, that would have been a Vampirella movie. It felt like it the same tone and the same. Just felt like I was reading that comic.
I think Robert Loggia was the mob boss.
Yeah. THE Cat. There are movies before this current wave of actually getting real superhero movies like Captain America: The Winter Soldier. In the old days, I'd see a movie and I think, this is like a comic book. Why can't they do the comic book characters on this? Like when I saw The Road Warrior, I thought, this is what I read in the comics. That felt so much like a comic book movie. And Darkman was before that, was right around the beginning of right about the same time as the first Batman, and that felt right.
And I got it was Anne I can't pronounce Perro.
Yeah, it wasn't Isabella Rossellini. Yeah, it was Anne Perriot or something.
Well, Puppetine, did you need to interrupt us real quick?
Yes, I am afraid I have to take my frog and we have to go home.
All right.
But we want to thank you so much for having us on. We had a lot of fun. Isn't that right, Froggy?
Yep. It's great talking to you actually in person instead of being from the chat to the video.
Well, we hope you guys did have fun. We really do. We hope you had fun.
So you're going to see Batwoman?
Yeah, we're going to go suffer a little bit.
Will that be on? Will your review be on later tonight or tomorrow?
It'll be tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna go live, and then it'll be up there for replay. So
All right,
Yep.
cool. I
Yep.
don't want to
Bye.
miss anything. Bye.
all right.
So was everybody on strike? Where's everybody,
Seems
man?
like it. Yeah.
They ran out of horror books, I guess, the last 2 weeks, maybe. But you've been having some shows on Saturday. I haven't watched them yet. I just found out that you did. Maybe they kind of like, I don't know. There was a Daredevil show, and
Sunday.
and there was another one too. I could have. Or was that just with one? I don't remember.
Still got all these Daredevils laying around I need to put back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this Saturday with was Fantastic Four, and then Sunday was Daredevil.
Oh, was that what it was? I gotta watch those. Yeah, I've been working on. I don't work on Saturdays, but I've been working straight through to pay for some stuff I already got. Did you point out the Daredevil that had the first appearance of Wolverine? Because
196.
I don't know. There's an ad for Hulk 181 that people are saying, and so that issue is worth a lot more money than all the Daredevils around it. Because some people say, well, it's really the first appearance of Wolverine, technically. Although I think he might have been an issue of Foom. But, because people will say, well, I don't know. There's people that come on YouTube channels and argue about cameos versus first appearances. And it's like, who gives a blank? I guess it matters if you're an investor and and it means the difference of $16,000 between this book and that book. I guess it matters, but it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, the only one of those arguments that I will listen to is, why is Wolverine's first appearance considered Hulk 181 when there was a full? He's the whole last page of 180, but Darkseid's first appearance is in a tiny panel in Jimmy Olsen where he's on Morgan Edge's wristwatch. So if someone can explain how that works, I will listen.
I can explain.
I won't care, but I will listen.
Because these idiots don't read comics, they just slab them. And they need, if you slabbed Hulk 180, it's the abominable snowman throwing like a pillar or something.
Yeah.
And that's where I can't show off Wolverine to my bros. I got to have the slab that shows them fighting. And so, because Hulk 181 shows Wolverine on the cover, because that's all they'll ever see is that, and maybe the Evel Knievel ad on the back, because they're stupid enough to pay for it to be slabbed. But I'm buying a slab book, so I'm now officially an idiot. But I guess I got to make sure I have the Frankenstein hardcover book. I hope I got that particular volume from Half Price Books while they were there that has the book that I'm getting.
You realize that all you have to do is change the interior letters of slab, and you get snob.
That's the book that changed my life right there. That's how I got into superhero books.
I was going to tell you, you said you do the Saturday show with Dr. Silver Age. He wanted to show some Fantastic Four, and so I opened this up and start turning through some of it. So, but it wasn't exactly riveting, but it was all right.
And apparently Dr. Silver Age wanted to retire on that show because he didn't come on Sunday, and he's not here tonight.
Yeah, never heard from him. And go ahead.
These are rough times, and it's real easy if you're retired, but if you're still working, there may be other things on your mind than showing off comics.
Agreed.
There's people like looking at possibly losing their job, or it's just like, what the heck? I don't want to get political. That's what people. but this is, hopefully this is the light before the end of the whatever cliche, or so the darkness before the light, or whatever the heck.
To recap, you probably came in and watched a lot of what Eric showed. I showed a lot of pre-code horror.
I saw
And,
that as I was walking into the pizza place, but you said that comic's in bad. It sure looks good. What's the
Well, they
back
look
cover all
good.
eaten?
No, just the staple would, it would tear a little bit.
Oh,
But
that's a beautiful book. Yeah, I've got to
my
get more pre-code books,
my
but I don't know if there's enough time left before
my
they
favorite was
video games.
this guy going fishing, and he catches a head. So
Yeah.
But I pretty much soon ran out and exhausted everything I had for tonight because I thought we'd have some people on, and the puppets were good enough to come on, and
Yeah.
I hope they were entertaining. We were at 20 people, and it went down to 12. So
they're out of their minds. They probably had to go watch Batwoman or something.
Well,
no, the puppets are great.
Sure,
they're great, and they're really professional. I mean,
I agree.
Puppeteer moves like it's part of the Henson studio.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and the way he'll turn and talk to the people, and the other squares.
And in fact, while you were talking earlier, Froggy was underneath Puppeteer, and he was pretending to touch Puppeteer. Puppeteer kept, slapping him down. They were having their own little sideshow while you were talking.
Graphic, would you mind throwing up the link again? And Skip, if you didn't just say hi and run, can you hop on for a moment?
Here we go. And into the... Yeah, so I asked Eric, what do you think? Should we let those two crazy guys in? He said, yeah, go ahead. I don't know if he regretted that or not. But
my wife is saying she loves Puppeteer. How did she get that weird-looking heart that looks like it's hand-drawn?
You married Barbara Streisand in 1964?
She liked that hairstyle. I know. No, she's not a Barbara Streisand fan. Although she liked the movie Funny Lady when we watched it. But no, Barbara Streisand has become a monstrous, horrid creature.
Oh, good. Yes, Skip is, and this
good, decent.
This is it's kind of weird seeing I'll use their names for this, Froggy and Puppeteer, on here. It's kind of like in Ghostbusters crossing the streams. And granted, you were mentioning how you didn't realize that E was important, blah blah blah. But you're the reason why almost all this crossing over is happening.
Well, I thought it was Comic Crypt Keeper.
Well, it was, but if he's how I found out about you. And I said I had that 4-color fossils idea that I'd been dying to do. I never thought it would happen. But that none of that happens without, if he doesn't, get me, if he didn't turn me onto your channel, which, and then found out about Graphic, and he'd shown up in E's things, and kind of all came together. But I said, so yeah. So for anybody that doesn't like all this, blame him.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool. It's weird. I always was like making jokes about the comic book community and say, oh, that sounds like communism. So let's call it a comic book neighborhood. And then I saw that, and he's not copying me, but I just think he thinks in the same political way as that Nerdrotic guy last Friday was saying the same. I don't like community. It's like, wow, that sounds familiar. Because I don't know. I never thought about the word being so that way when I was a kid until I was forced to all this thrown at me, 24 hours a day by the media. Then you realize, that's like a commune. Oh, well. But, yeah, all the Marvel magazines, is that stuff that's in stock at your store?
No, this was, I kept these when I sold everything else. I mean, I kept some magazines. I realized when I was looking these up, I have most of the Rampaging Hulks.
Yeah,
because I'd completely forgotten that I still had those. Because when Graphic won those first 2 issues at one of E's auctions, I was thinking, man, I miss not having the first issue where he's holding the tank over his And I've had it the whole time. So
And then Captain Strangelove got a whole bunch of those at a garage sale
in a Coke box.
Yeah, and they all were stuck together by some weird sticky substance.
Yeah, that never happens for me. I
That
never
was
get
like
lucky
almost
like
like two separate books. It was a real dark and gritty black and white set in the early 60s magazine, and then when the TV show came on, then it turned into a bright, colorful, completely opposite kind of magazine. But it had Moon Knight in the back, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a book I just found that there it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the one on the wall is my second copy, but that's just as a kid I thought, man, look at that's strong. He's pushing him down, and that I eat that stuff up all day.
Let me show you something. There's a painting. I took a video of it. There's a painting that this guy recreated of it. And it's not perfect, but it's cool because they had like LED lights that change color, angled up at what was there before. So this guy brings in this painting and puts it up there, and the glop or the glorp or whatever he's done in oil, and the Hulk is done in acrylic. And that's actually my wife with punk rock hair there. That's not Barbara Streisand, thank God. Anyway,
I need her to get back on Facebook so I can send little links to her so she can forward them on to you.
When she gets on Facebook, she gets zucked within 24 hours usually because she's not politically correct. So anyway, and that she's gone for a month. So anyway, I realized this looks gorgeous when the lights change, because the Hulk turns gray and then he turns vibrantly green, and the background, the Herb Trimpe background, turns blue and then black. If you make me big screen, I can play this caveman style and show you how this thing looks. This is it.
So this is him redoing it.
He redid the painting, and I've got to get a lighting system like this. I'm going to buy this from him, but it's so cool the way it changes. So he's the glob.
That looks great.
Oh, we got a visitor. Cool. Oh, anyway, it's kind of like having a neon sign in your house. It's not as good as a Holiday Inn sign.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's going to be a new acquisition. So anyway,
welcome to the Graphic Man action-packed hour.
Hey, Graphic Man, nice to finally meet you.
Sure.
And Grotto, nice to finally meet you too. I've been checking you guys' channels out. Grotto a little earlier, and then Graphic Man I found out about more recently since y'all been doing the Fossils show. So, hey, Breen, how's it going?
Your name? I think I'm subscribed to you too, aren't I?
Oh, I think you did not too long ago. Yeah, thanks for that.
Cool.
How's it going, Breen?
Yeah, I'm hanging in.
Nice. Yeah, the Kings game literally just started, so I was like, "Oh, I get to sneak in 1 hour of my Sacramento Kings getting whooped before we get to talk about something much more successful like Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips." So
I just saw.
We have a criminal cast tonight. That's why I brought Skip on to tout that for a moment. And
I saw a promotional book, kind of like a previews book today, and it was on the front. It showed like some new book coming out, and it said, I saw Ed Brubaker's name. What is this new book? It's some hero that's got blonde hair. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for anybody who's familiar with Ed Brubaker, usually he does, he and Sean Phillips together do fantastic, like pulpy, noir, kind of usually crime-centric comics and such. And they've moved over to, instead of doing so many floppies, they moved over to doing just a graphic novel about every 4 to 5 months. And the book that came out most recently, he created a character called Ethan Reckless, who is not quite a hero, but Well, more on, let's say, the altruistic side, or at least, you know, more of a defender of the people than someone looking to you know, find a gig and do us and try to score.
He's
So
mom and apple pie for a Brubaker protagonist.
yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. So they've done 3 books in their line of the Reckless series, and this one is called Destroy All Monsters.
Yeah, that's the one. I was kidding. It's like, oh, this is a comic book about Donald Trump. Look.
Oh, I never even realized. Yeah,
He
I
looks
guess
a little bit like a young. Well, the hair is not quite right, but
yeah. I mean, but hey, he's definitely got the coif going on a little bit
the
here.
facial expression a little bit too.
Yeah, a little bit with the facial expression.
So that's out. That's out already. I was seeing an ad for it, but it already exists.
Yeah, it came out last week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what I was seeing was like a Christmas wish book kind of thing. It was at the cash register.
Oh, okay. Was it all white and was it all white and like kind of black
It was
on
just a little magazine, comic book sized, and that image was on the cover, and it was just like a previews book. It had a bunch of stuff you can get as Christmas gifts. So that's a book I ought to get, huh?
Oh, it's you know that you know how I feel about new comics. It's pretty much the same way we all do. That Brubaker is absolutely the exception. If it's like if I could only read one modern creator, it would be Brubaker, no hesitation.
And so Ed Brubaker is the one responsible for the feel of like Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I mean, that's based on kind of his work. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely.
See, so you know, yeah, the guy's got to be great. So I got to get into that.
Yeah, I recommend all the Criminals. Yeah, the 3 Reckless books, the Fade Out, which is a Hollywood noir murder mystery set in the late 40s, and it would be right up. It'd be right. That one in particular would be right up your alley.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, Breen, remind me, you as far as the Fade Out, you did have the oversized magazine edition, yes, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, you and I, yeah, that'd be a really good one. I think if Grotto and Graphic Man, are you like do you check out like crime noir stuff as well?
Well, I would. I'm an old James Cagney fan, so I probably would love it. Yeah,
especially the Fade Out would like Breen said, would be right up your alley. And it's cool because within that story, it's about a writer who wakes up, you know, from one of his one of their Hollywood parties. He finds himself in like one of the kind of bungalow houses, mm-hmm, and wakes up to the budding starlet of the studio dead. And he can't remember what happened. He doesn't know how she died. He doesn't even remember quite how he got there, and it goes from there. But along the journey of the story, it's nice because you get to meet all these, for the lack of a better word, like proxies for like James Dean and like, you know, all of those, you know, types of actors. So yeah, if you're into what some of those actors did, you get to see some, you know, a form of those actors, a representation of those actors within the and actresses within the story. It's my favorite Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips work.
And they do mix in a couple of real, like Clark Gable is in it as himself.
Really?
Dashiell Hammett, I believe, is in the book as himself. Now, and there's a Montgomery Clift stand-in, okay, where he's the star that has to marry the starlet, but we all know that it's going to be in name only for obvious reasons. Oh. But that's I said that's wow. I couldn't resist getting that one.
So was this in comic book stores?
Yes.
So you just have to go to the right comic store where the owners actually order the cool stuff.
Yeah, well,
when did this come out?
I think 2014, maybe.
Yeah, I think 2014, 2015.
And he doesn't do floppies anymore, but that is available in floppy and also in trades. But Spectator, I'm going to say Pulp was my book of the year for 2020. And if I'd had a backup copy, it'd be my number 2 of 2020 as well. So yeah, that's another one. Pulp is phenomenal.
So with today's technology, they could make a movie and fake these actors being in it. I mean, they could do that now. I remember a Steve Martin movie back years ago called Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, where they didn't have CGI, but they tried to fake it like all these old movie stars were in it. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, Ken, that one, yeah, you absolutely need to read that one.
It's like Home Shopping Network.
Yes,
exactly.
the
Price
lovely,
is Right.
the lovely Carol Merrill.
Yeah. No, the other one he showed looked just like an old magazine.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
well, he is. I mean, he's an avid fan of Jim Thompson. So I mean, yeah, he's got all the right interests to have shaped him into the writer he is. And in fact, that did you catch that in this latest Reckless, when Ethan was killing time reading old Jim Thompson novels?
Oh no, I don't think I caught that.
Yeah. Now, Skip, have you read any Jim Thompson?
No, I have never read any Jim Thompson.
As a Brubaker fan, that's a natural segue. I mean, you would enjoy The Killer Inside Me.
There was a really good movie in the 80s based on a Jim Thompson novel. What was that called? Or at least it was good at the time.
Oh crap!
It was about carnies, wasn't it?
I can't remember. But you know, The Getaway is a Jim Thompson novel.
Yeah.
They had to clean up the ending because in the novel, where they get away to is a leper colony.
No.
But yeah, they.
Okay.
So, Eric, you still have the regular show where you guys discuss Brubaker.
Yeah, we've got one in 40 minutes.
Have you ever thought about like contacting Brubaker and having him come on as a guest?
Well, we're not the only ones that do that, and I don't know if he's, I mean, we've never tried, but
He'd be cool. Why not?
Yeah, that'd be awesome if we ever get him to even come on to say hello.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, anyone, in my personal opinion, anyone who was like such good friends with Darwin Cook that dearly departed, that they are asked to kind of see through the other large Parker Martini edition book and make additions and whatnot to it, like Ed and Sean have. That lets you know that they're a quality creator right there.
Yeah, Darwin Cook was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Richard Stark was the pen name of was it Westlake?
Something Westlake. I'm forgetting his
Donald
first
Westlake.
I think it is Donald Westlake.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know if I knew he was. I know Richard Stark was a nom de plume of one of those guys.
Yeah, it's Donald Westlake. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I've read several of his books, and yeah, I've read a couple of I think I've read the first 2 or 3 Parker novels, and
phenomenal.
Yeah, Donald. That's right, Donald E. Westlake.
Donald E. Westlake, absolutely.
Oh, it was. I was looking up Jim Thompson. It was called The Grifters. That was. I really liked that.
That's right. Yeah,
and then The Killing. Oh, that's a great move. That's also based on him. And Paths of Glory. All those are Jim Thompson.
I know he either did the screenplays for them, or they're based on his books. Because if my eyes were better, I've got half a shelf of Jim Thompson books.
Well, the Grifters. At the time, I loved it. Sometimes you see a movie and then years later you come back to it and you think, why did I like that? But I think I'd still like it. It was good.
Nice.
He unfortunately, he's one of those guys that died penniless with all of his catalog out of print. And Stephen King rediscovered him and basically put him back on the map because he's a huge Jim Thompson fan. Awesome. And I believe now all of his books are in print again. I mean, he's not the easiest guy to read because he maybe doesn't flow as well as some of the more polished writers, but yeah, there's something about him that I said he's got something.
You ever read Mickey Spillane?
Oh yeah.
That's great expressions, like in college, you go out drinking and then you go to Denny's to kind of sober up. Well, I mean, at least I don't mean to bring up things like that, but the way the guy in, and I guess Mike Hammer's describing is putting a roof on your load. it's like what a great expression to eating in the middle of the night to soak up the alcohol, putting a roof on your load.
Yeah, speaking of, I said, in later in life, Mickey Spillane's final years, he had met Max Allan Collins, who is another fantastic writer in his own right. That was redundant. And he ended up finishing about 6 or 7 of Spillane's books that he'd started.
Yeah.
And they were released, co-authors. I don't know if you've ever read any Max Allan Collins novels, but he has a series with a character called Nathan Heller, where he puts Nathan Heller's a fictional character that gets involved in real life events. Like he puts him in the Marilyn Monroe, death mystery, and the Kennedys are in there and all that stuff. And it starts in like the end of Prohibition and goes through the Kennedy presidency, and they're very, very good.
Huh.
And I said I finally had some interaction with Max Allan Collins when I disparaged him in a YouTube comment that he saw, and set me straight. So I said, don't meet your idols. They may think you're a dick.
Yeah, that is right. I don't mind. I guess I don't mind people finishing other, people pass away's novels. But what I would like to be done is like the original author, all the words they wrote are in one color ink, and then what's the new guy, it switches to another color ink, so what's the real stuff. And unless they're actually altering it more than it'd have to be like a third color where it's been.
I don't think there was enough, because I think they might have been more like outlines, and because I think he just started a bunch of stuff, and and he did it with Spillane's blessing, so it wasn't one of those where he waited for him to die to do it, because he had the full support of the Spillane family, Mickey and just whoever he was married to at the time, and they definitely have the feel, because he writes a series of books called a character called Quarry. Also, I don't know if you're familiar with hard case crime novels, right?
Hard
case crime. They all have the same spines with the white borders, the yellow at the top with the gun. It's a series of books where they do the covers of the old dime store novels.
They're reprints.
Well, there are some books that are back in print. And some originals. Yeah, give me a second. I'll go grab a couple of them. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Okay, what I'm looking at is a comic, right?
Yeah, but they're normal novels. The comics line just came after. They're trying to adapt some of them or just write some comics, but initially their hard case was just a book publisher, no comics.
I see. I get it. I've heard people. I think Eric last week, and I've heard other people talking since about Gun Honey.
Yeah, issue number 2 came out recently, and I'm continuing to enjoy it more than I thought I was. I thought it was going to be more cheesecakey than it actually ended up being, and you get your cheesecake. But I think it's good how the writer is crafting even those elements back into the story to make them relevant. So it's good. I just wanted to give it a shot because I like crime stuff, and the art looked good, but the writing has been fantastic, and I'm definitely going to continue to read it on to issue 3.
There's one.
There we go.
Okay.
They have that same style of art, is the
I
old.
can't remember that. I used to know that artist's name. He does tons of those covers.
He's still doing covers too. He's like, I want to say he's like 90 something and
Oh,
still.
really?
Mhm.
Oh, these are just wonderful. I got to get some of the.
Oh yeah, I figure I'm surprised that you don't have a couple shelves full because that Mike over at the Comic Crypt, when he saw my video where I did the tour of Nerd Fork, he said that was what he noticed was because I have 2 shelves full of hard case crime, and he's a fan also.
Wow.
But yeah, those are some with the reverence for the past and pop culture as you, and that's definitely going to be opening a Pandora's box for you.
Was Mickey Spillane's first published writing and like text stories in Marvel Comics, or
I don't know if it was his first, but he did do a couple stories for them.
he was kind of buddies with Stan Lee, possibly?
I believe so, or somebody in the offices. Yeah.
Well, you were talking about Marilyn Monroe. What was the comic? There was a Dave Stevens cover where some superhero with a black costume is finding Marilyn Monroe dead in the bed. Was it Crossfire?
Mm-hmm.
I have that comic, but it's I haven't read it yet. It's just so amazing. It's like is that what they did with the storyline? Does he legitimately find Marilyn Monroe in the comic?
I can't remember the guy that did that series is a guy named Mark Evanier, who he's written several Kirby books. He's a Kirby.
Isn't he the assistant?
Yeah,
and doesn't he translate for Sergio Aragonis, like helping him write his stuff in English for like Gru?
I don't know.
I think he did for a little while. I don't know if he still does, but I remember hearing that Evanier helped.
Back when he was doing Gru, Sergio didn't know enough. He wrote his ideas down in English for him.
Yeah,
but yeah, that Crossfire series was one of the Eclipse series in the 80s. And I was a big fan of that company. They did DN Agents. They published The Miracle Man. That's where Chuck Dixon revived Airboy.
Yeah,
these are all
they did
series
Mr. Monster too, right?
Yeah, and there's nothing that I just mentioned that I wouldn't heartily recommend.
Yeah, Graphic Man was freaking out over Mr. Monster a few weeks ago. And all the reprints, they were the first guys to do kind of what Guandanaland's doing, is they're reprinting all the really cool 50s monster horror stories, the ones that were the most messed up and cool.
Yep. Yeah, one of these days, the Fossils should do just some show off books we have.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to see that.
Because I've got several hundred dime store novels. None of the great, really old ones, but I do have like the next wave from the 60s. Like a bunch of the Matt Helm books and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind if I ask y'all a question?
Sure.
This thought occurred to me a few weeks ago, and it wasn't till I think last night or the night before where I finally kind of verbalized it outside of myself. We are pretty well versed in the modern day stories that are like of note. It's like, whether it's someone says, Breaking Bad TV show, like if you haven't seen that, you got to see that, or if we even talk about stories, whether it's like, Hans Christian Andersen tales, if you even want to include, the Bible in there, as a much older, just book and how it tells, its series of stories. But I often think about whether it's stories from like a few decades ago or hundreds of years ago, which would be harder for us to speak on, or even thousands of years ago, stories that were like once popular at one time that just did not make their way on to the next generation, and then eventually fell off, the pop culture cart. But if I can ask y'all, what are some stories that you remember being popular maybe around the time when you were like teenagers, or early 20s, that were very, very popular that you don't really hear people talk about much anymore? I guess that's part of the problem is yeah, if you know, like, so if everybody's forgotten them, then it's tough. I just think about that because I love hearing about older stories, but like I also don't know the ones that will never make it to my attention.
Well, as soon as I say something, someone will say, "Oh yeah, I read that yesterday." But
Oh wow.
like Charlotte's Web, or that was really big, back in the day, and now I don't think anyone ever even talks about it.
I think, well, it's been made into movies several times.
Yeah.
I think it's still part of the popular consciousness. Maybe not with the average 10-year-old, but something that was huge every time the teacher would take us to the public library. What was the first book that the kids would go to? Book series that, what would they go for?
Well,
you'll
I
never
know.
Charlie
I know
Brown.
what you wanna
When
yeah.
I was a kid, everyone got the Peanuts.
Charlie
book.
Brown.
And
Okay.
kids today don't know Charlie Brown, and that has been flushed from the memories of the average preteen. That's gone. But as far as
Spectator, I was going to bring it up. Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, and then there was
yeah.
the poor man's version of that, the Happy Hollisters. Anybody remembers them? Those there's just books after books after books, and I said
they were huge.
The Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew obviously have stayed in the consciousness because they've been adapted to live action, whereas like the Happy Hollisters, no one remembers.
And I think there's a currently running Nancy Drew series on CW.
Yeah,
possibly, maybe even a Hardy Boys. But here's something that really is permeated our consciousness so much that if you give a crayon to a 3-year-old and tell them, draw a Martian, draw a space alien, they're going to grab the green color. And you think, well, why do we think that Martians have green skin when it's a red planet and that they're little green men? And that goes back to a hugely popular series of books that was forgotten because the same author also wrote Tarzan. Tarzan movies you can make pretty cheap, but it's real hard to film 15-foot tall guys with 4 arms in the 1930s or 20s, and then but that was a huge phenomenon in the 20s and 30s. Kids reading the John Carter books.
Yeah,
and the first Martians he sees are these little baby little green men coming out of eggs that are baby Martians being hatched that'll later grow up to be 15 feet tall. So that's where all that comes from. It's why we still instinctively remember they're green. And then that series of books where they have ray guns, but they also fight with swords, where it's the swashbuckling type of adventure, but it still has like atomic reactors and stuff. That is where Flash Gordon and later Star Wars and everything, and there were all kinds of names and characters in the John Carter books that were just pilfered for Star Wars. There were these giant Martian mosquitoes called, that was written SITH. They were Siths, and then the kings were Jedaks or Jeds. And it was there's just all these, and of course you've got Princess Deja instead of Princess Leia, and she's always been kidnapped and has to be rescued, and there's sword fighting, and and Superman comes from that because the teenagers that created Superman in the 30s read John Carter, and it's a guy on another planet that can jump, and it's because when John Carter is like Superman, he can jump really, because originally Superman didn't fly. He just could leap tall buildings in a single bound. And he had super strength on Mars. And he had a red cape too. But the red cape goes back to mythology, and the Greek gods had capes.
What if, though, you told that kid to grab a crayon and draw some, and he grabs a purple one?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like so many different people have been influenced by those books and then the cartoon. Well,
Did you get the reference? Remember Harold and the Purple Crayon? Speaking of books that I guess did not make it, that was a huge. It was this little kid. He was barely big, like out of his onesie. Actually, I think he was still young enough to be in his onesie, and he had this magical purple crayon, and anything he drew became real.
That's awesome.
Huh. I don't remember that.
Yeah, so that must have that must have maybe it was regional. I don't know, but I was fascinated by that when I was a kid. When I was a little kid,
but you were
I
talking
wanted
about
that purple crayon.
Yeah, you were talking about Dull Giants earlier. I mean, all that stuff from the 50s is just that was huge. Like they just tried to bring back Zorro in comics, but he was huge in the 50s. What else has just been forgotten? All the Western heroes of the 50s on TV. The kids today do not know who the Lone Ranger is, because I'm a retired school teacher. They don't understand references to the Lone Ranger. They
not even Zorro. So they don't even know Zorro either.
No, well, some of them do because there have been a lot of recent attempts to revive it, like with Antonio Banderas. And I was teaching at a school that was probably 90% Hispanic. And so I think on a lot of the Spanish language channels, they like to play Zorro movies, some that were never even released here that were made in Mexico. So that character was known, but not the old versions. And but most of those characters, that were huge for kids 60, 70 years ago are just they've just been flushed from everybody's memory.
Now, I have some young nieces and a nephew, and one of the things I like to do is kind of like a pop culture quiz, for lack of a better term. So I'm fascinated by who is still remembered versus who isn't, and we're now far enough along to where you can get kids that don't know who Humphrey Bogart is, or Cary Grant. Like John Wayne has made it. I mean, everybody at least knows the name, and everybody at least knows who Frank Sinatra is, even if they can't place him. But like Cary Grant isn't, complete. Just you can slide his name past a lot of people. And Bogart, I said, I would say for a good 10 years, there wasn't a bigger star on planet Earth, but he's been gone for 65 years now. And I said, if you're not a film buff, there's a chance that you don't remember him.
Yeah.
And I'm always fascinated by that.
And then there are stars from the 20s, which is 100 years ago, that even a lot of adults don't know, that were the biggest stars in the world, Rudolph Valentino. And it's just like a lot of this it's just a lot of people don't even know the name of, who their governor is, or they don't know anything. And they just know what's on right now in front of them. They know Squid Games, Kim Kardashian, whatever, they just know whatever's like right being foisted at them.
Now, in their defense, when we were kids, if we wanted to retain something, we had to read it, or I said, remember when we remember the ads for, like, you can get 20 seconds of no audio of your favorite movie. I mean, so we kind of, the stuff that we were into, we kind of really got into it because it was, our options were limited. These kids today have everything at their fingertips.
Yeah.
And,
that's why they don't read
and
comics.
there's also 50, 60 more years of history to remember. And so, I mean, I can understand why they don't. I'm more impressed with younger kids that do seek out the past versus being agitated by ones that don't, because I can understand why.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And sometimes, people in the chat are saying there was a Lone Ranger movie a few years ago, and some people saw that, but that movie was like the Lone Ranger was portrayed as being just kind of an imbecile, and Tonto was the smart guy, And it was like, and then all of a sudden in the last 30 minutes, it's like a different director came in, and it's like the clouds part, and it turns into one of the most amazing movies since Raiders of the Lost Ark. I swear to God, the last half hour of The Lone Ranger, all of a sudden the William Tell overture kicks in, and it's like all of a sudden he's not an idiot anymore, and it's like it's a train sequence that's phenomenal. And they're riding their horses on top of a moving train. It's like insane. It's like, why couldn't the whole movie be like that? It would have been a classic. But you got to make the Lone Ranger dumb because he's got to be dumb.
Yeah. I thought the same with this Green Hornet they made.
Oh, yeah. I never saw that.
I thought they made him a dummy.
They did, but they at least made the movie entertaining. And I say that as someone who wouldn't spit on Seth Rogen if he were on fire. So that'll tell you that for whatever reason that worked. And there's also he's been out of the zeitgeist for so long that most people didn't know that most people probably think that Seth Rogen invented him.
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, because there's really never been. I mean, there were the serials in the 40s,
but he's the natural tie-in to Lone Ranger because he's supposed to be,
But the Green Hornet was primarily a radio show that was a spin-off from the Lone Ranger, same creator, and when he was brought in 1967. The kids didn't know who he was because Batman had been continually published, and there'd been some Green Hornet comics, but the kids in 1967 had never heard the radio shows. That was what their dads listened to, 20 something years before. And so it didn't work on television. Plus it had a different tone than the Batman show.
It's definitely a little more serious.
And so it didn't work because the name recognition wasn't there. In 67, and now it's so much farther, and mainly the thing now people remember is the Bruce Lee connection. But yeah, and it's really cool that he's a descendant of what the Lone Ranger's nephew. But if you don't know who the Lone Ranger is, you don't give as the kids say, I don't give a care. That's what they used to say in the 90s. I don't give a care. I just thought that was a weird expression. It's like a way to salvage so you don't slip and say a curse word in front of the teacher. I don't give a care.
Well, gentlemen, I thank you so much for having me on. I got to sneak away for 10 minutes so I can scarf down my food so I'm not hangry during the criminal cast. But it was nice to come on and finally formally meet you, Graphic Man and Grotto, and keep up the work. I'll keep tuning in, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
And your appearance was brought to you by Beetle Bailey Combat number 6. Please go out and get that as soon as you can. It was great to have you on. Please drop in some other time.
Oh, I'd love to. I will if the invitation is open. Expect to see me again. And
when we do this, especially when we do the one with the books, which I like to do it sometime in November, since I'm pretty much running out of comics. Trying to keep up with you guys is killing me.
That's all right. Well, take care, everyone. And Breen, I'll see you soon.
I'll see you in about 10 minutes.
All right, see you then. Bye.
Ash yells at us if we're late.
So where are you going next? Which show?
Criminal Cast.
Oh, the
on Ash
one.
Yeah, on Ash on Comics. It should start probably it's supposed to start at 11. We usually get rolling at about 10 after. And sad thing is, we get no audience. I mean, we kill for these numbers. I don't know if it's because it's on so late or
How many people are watching right now? I don't see.
15.
That's good.
Yeah, we'll be lucky if we get 5. And but I said all 3 of us are huge fans and we enjoy doing it. And hell, it's the only interaction unless he shows up on an Eglantine auction. I don't. Ash is probably he's probably my oldest friend on YouTube, and I don't get to do much with him anymore. So this is, at least we get to do this.
Yeah. And so the radio show version of comic that's done on Friday night is going to be Dead Man this week.
Yeah.
Strange Adventures 205 or something like that.
Yeah. Ken, we haven't gotten you to read yet. Why not?
I'd like to. Friday is, Friday is. That's
By the way,
I have a visitor in the house on Friday night, but I could.
You were gone at supper, but did you hear me on their little thing?
I still haven't listened to last week's.
Oh.
It was the Creature Commandos?
The
Was that the
Demon.
week before?
Yeah, it was Demon.
Oh, the Demon.
Yeah, they had me play about 4 different people, and I forgot every one of them. They had to say, "That's you," and I had to start reading. Yeah,
and Puppetine stole the show again. He brought out a variation of his General Immortus voice. So but yeah, guys, I need to hop off here so I can get over there in time to get set up. And I said, if you guys have any life left in you, stop by, at least say hi in the chat.
All right.
So and hope to see both of you guys Friday night, and unless one of you guys do a pop-up stream between now and then, and if so, get a hold of me. And
I doubt it on my end. I'm exhausted.
Maybe I'll do something tomorrow night. I'll try. I've got a friend that wants to come over and bring a few boxes of pulps. He's a pulp collector and talk about pulps. So whenever
that'd be a great precursor to that. Yeah, if you do, see if they'll let you go on the air for a while and show them off, because I love looking at pulps too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys
All
soon.
right.
All right. Good night, kids.
Bye.
So, Gratu, what did you see my little ridiculous thing I did?
What the Frankenberry thing?
No, I did a 1970s
I was
Spider-Man.
driving and I heard you describing what you were doing, but I couldn't look because now all the lights when I'm driving are flaring out at me, and I'm afraid I'm going to drive into an oncoming car. So I heard that you changed this Telly Savalas and everything. I heard you're talking about Robert Culp, but I didn't see the.
So I wanted him to be
Bullseye. That is so cool.
And then I saw the receding hairline of James Mason.
Yeah.
And I thought, why not make him the schemer?
Oh, of course. So
I made his hair a little white there, and I gave him a yellow kind of collar. And I made this guy Hammerhead.
Yeah.
And so I added Nicholas Hammond as the star. And this would have been the 1977 movie with a much better budget and better actors.
But that's not the Nicholas Hammond suit. That's too good to be the Nicholas Hammond suit.
That is true. You know why? Because every image of that ridiculous suit is, let's just face it, terrible, bad photography.
Yeah.
And,
his eyes especially were bad.
Yes. So that is the closest to the original suit of some guy making a costume that I just grabbed on. So
why couldn't they have had
conglomeration.
Why couldn't they have had the villains? Why couldn't they have had the supporting cast? What was so and get some guy that kind of looks a little bit more like J. Jonah Jameson?
I mean, Kingpin doesn't have to be 400 pounds. Telly Savalas could have easily done that. Maybe
who's Telly Savalas playing there in your poster?
Well, this was a movie about Germany.
No, I mean in the Spider-Man poster.
Kingpin. So it's Amazing Spider-Man.
Right. I got you. You explained that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the Schemer and Hammerhead are going to try to take over, but Kingpin has Bullseye working for him. And this is supposed to be set 1977. Bullseye makes his appearance in 77 in Daredevil. And so if I were in Marvel, I would, I'd be hounding Stan all this time. Hey, let's get this guy and this guy. But that TV show, I mean, when you were a kid, you loved it that it was Spider-Man, but he fought nobody.
I wasn't.
Well,
I
I'm a little
watched.
younger than
It's
you.
not that I loved it. I watched it because it was
Yeah.
Spider-Man, but I was very disappointed by it, and
So was I, but I'm 5 years younger, and it was.
Oh well,
Yeah.
maybe, but and Nicholas Hammond was one of the little boys in The Sound of Music in the Trap family. I don't know if you know that, but yeah, it was bad. There's nothing good about it. Then they did Captain America, and they did Hulk. You were talking about that. I was listening to your live stream.
Yes.
Part of it while I was in the shower. You guys
Daredevil.
were talking about that. And then when they had Daredevil on there, yeah, that's what you're talking about. But they had his eyes covered like with a black. So it's like, and Stanley was saying, well, he doesn't want the bad guys to know he's blind.
Right.
It's like he doesn't going to blindfold himself to show that off, just so they'll be impressed with what he's doing despite being blind. Yeah, it's like it never makes any sense. You've got these great properties, but you have to alter it. Like, why? It's not to save. Well, it was with Spider-Man to save a little money, but it doesn't save money to have to hire someone to play Mary Jane or to play the supporting cast. Most of the fun of Spider-Man is when he's with the supporting cast.
Yeah.
You don't have to have nonstop stunts, and you don't have to have a high budget, because the Japanese did a Spider-Man series the exact same time as the American one, and they changed the storyline and made him Japanese Peter. He wasn't Peter Parker. It was all the story, but it was the exact costume, but they changed it up and made it, for Japanese kids, but the way he moved and everything was far better and closer to the American comics, and they had him swinging around and doing stuff, and it wasn't always perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It's fun. Do it anyway. It's like Land of the Lost on Saturday morning. It's like, no, some producers say, well, we can't have a raft fall down 1,000-foot waterfall. That would require this, but they just like chroma keyed it and looked terrible, even to a whatever age kid. It's obviously fake, but it's still cool because someone did it. At least you try. That's the thing. If you try, it's like in I think I was talking to Puppetine. It's like, okay, so you've got Our Man, the guy that's actually Our Man, sitting there eating a sandwich with Solomon Grundy, and it's like, well, he's obviously CGI and not a real person, but they did it. It's Solomon Grundy. It's like, it's not like they said, well, we can't do it, make him that big. Let's make him small, like just put some white makeup on someone. They at least tried to do it, and so I go with it. You got to have the cojones to actually do it. And
wouldn't it have been cool if on the Batman show they would have had Solomon Grundy show up in '66, played by the guy that did Lurch?
Yeah.
See what I mean? Just I don't, because
Solomon Grundy didn't really interact with Batman that much.
Agreed, but like a cameo. I mean, the same guy Lurch on Star Trek, they bulked him up for that one alien shot episode, 10 or something?
Yeah. What I thought, if they had actually, instead of waiting until 1989, if they had gotten the young Jack Nicholson, who was starving for work, and made him the Joker in the '66 Batman, imagine how that would have been. Or like in that animated movie that they made just a couple of years ago, when Adam West was still alive, where they got William Shatner to play Two-Face. What if William Shatner played Two-Face? That would have been great.
Yeah.
It only takes like a few days of shooting, and then because those people that played those villains, it's not like they were on the set for 3 years. They were only in a few episodes, really, and it's like, how much time were they really on the set? It's like William Shatner talks about George Takei hating him, and he says, I barely knew the guy. He was never there, because you think about the amount of scenes that George Takei is in with William Shatner, and like what would be the amount of time that would be needed to shoot all that. He's like, most of the time George Takei wasn't on the set because he wasn't in the shot, which is probably why he was mad, because apparently William Shatner says, well, why is he saying that line? Wouldn't it sound better if I was saying? That's apparently one thing he didn't like, is that he was a line thief. But he's probably right. You want to see the hero of the be the dynamic one. But it's not that I dislike Sulu or anything. It's just weird to see these people that you grew up with and had little silly fights. But but and I was thrilled that William Shatner actually went into space, and I had a tear coming down my eye. But then he comes down and he starts talking about, well, when I was up there, I saw death, and I realized that the Earth is going to have an upcoming catastrophe in the next 10 years. It's like, oh, no, don't do that, Captain Kirk. You're just aping AOC, man. And that's not cool. Captain Kirk wouldn't say that. Oh, well. And it's like he's not Captain Kirk. You have to realize that. So, I don't know. So what are people saying there? Comic book frog. Everyone has slowly died off on the panel. It's like, yes, it's almost like, it's the end of the world. Yeah, it's like,
here's one for you.
4-color fossils are gone.
Here's one for you. I don't know if you can read it. Eric says, where the good-looking guys go. So,
yeah. Well, it's interesting. There are other things that are interesting that we could talk about, because life is not comic books alone. I was looking at Eric Breen's little icon there and the band The Jam. What if we talked about musical influences one night and just talked about music and what kind of music we listen to? I think that would be interesting. I don't know what music Dr. Silverage listens to, or, that would be interesting, because I'm interested in all kinds of pop culture. Or we could talk, what other things could we talk about? Favorite movies? Plus that saves me having to move boxes, and then I was so tired.
I could kid you. I could kid you and say, oh, all the fossils love Journey. So
well, they might. I make fun of bands that I don't realize there has to be actually people that like those bands, and I'm probably pissing off a lot of people. I'm very vocal about stuff, but it's not, because I need to be a little more, a little better with that, because it's just sure the lead singer's always annoyed me. But yeah, it's like so Silver Age Dave has a Journey record, I think, up above his comic book room. It's all right. You can be cool and still like Journey. And the other thing I think, and Eric's right, like talk about books.
Yeah.
And also, I just think it's cool to talk about how you got into the comics and stuff. It's like, because when I hear these stories, like this guy that came into the store and was talking about buying comics out of vending machines, I never dreamed that was even a thing. And then, so I looked it up, and sure enough, there were machines that dispensed comic books, and apparently they were mainly in your state. I don't know if you want people knowing what state you're in, but people were in the, and then this guy from Devlin Thompson from the Bizarro Wuxtree store in Georgia, he found the actual blueprints, the patent design on how to, for the design for the comic book dispensing machine. Oh, and what happened is they retooled all the machines to go to 15 cents. And then they switched to 25 cents, then to 20 cents. And then the machines, they just scrapped them all because it was too much trouble to keep retooling them, because they kept changing the prices. What wouldn't you say about every year and a half, the prices went up in the 70s? Yeah. So they just said, F it. It's too much trouble. But I would love to have one of those machines stocked with 60s comics. I mean, I wouldn't. You're right. Having it operate and drop the comics is not good, but it would look. A machine would look cool. Just sitting there with comics in it. It's just like the next thing. Everyone's collects the old spinner racks, and then what's the next thing to go to but I imagine it would be real big and not be greeted with a lot of happiness by wives or spouses. I don't know. There could be female comic collectors that want it and their husbands don't like it. Don't want to be sexist. So do you still work at that shop on Thursdays for
every other Thursday? So this is an off Thursday. But
what have you gotten in trade from there lately?
Well,
I'm not trying to keep you on.
I showed this Manhunter, paid $1.50 for it. It's kind of dinged up, but I counted it as one of my decapitation. And then when we were running out of things to talk about, I said, "Hey, let me show you an Archie I got." And check out Veronica's. You saw that?
I was eating pizza while we were watching that.
It's like they're just like waffles. It's just looking weird. Pockets.
Yeah. I love all the fashion and
sure
all that in those as the eras change until they get to a certain time period, maybe the 80s. It's no longer interesting.
Yeah, this was a 20-cent cover. So when they get around 1984, they start to kind of look the same to me.
Yeah, 40s, 50s, 60s.
Those are the
especially, and then in the 70s they got nuts with the flaring bell bottoms and everything. But then it's like I couldn't tell you the difference between the 1990s and the era.
No.
These decades aren't distinctive in my mind like those decades were. It's like the 50s, 60s, 40s. There's distinctive looks. What's different between the 90s and the 2010s? I don't know. Maybe it's because I wasn't a kid then, and it's just everything started to blend together and not matter anymore. And
to me, the 90s never stopped as far as culturally. And for those of you that like new comics, you probably want to tune out if you like me. I'm more of a gold, silver, and bronze fan. So same with graphic or Gratu, but I guess what makes modern different than the 90s, their covers are looking better than the 90s covers, but the insides are just as unreadable as the 90s. And I didn't care for the 90s socially, politically, all down the line.
Well, I think the problem Marvel was having is they were like going out of business, and I think they weren't hiring as good a artists. It seemed like some of the art just got insanely bad.
Yeah,
but I don't. I just can't get excited about Spawn and Venom. I just fell out of it right before they were being created. But then, excuse my language, Venom and Carnage, yes.
Right.
Those are I don't really get it, but now I hear more and more, and I'm starting to put it together, and it's like, well, maybe these aren't interesting characters, because I thought, okay, so Spawn is just this big goblin demon thing, but now I'm starting to realize, okay, so it's actually become a hero. Is that correct? It's like doing the right thing, even though its instincts are to be horrible. Is that the way it is? The human that it's inhabiting influences it, and because it looks like in the movie that they're kind of buddies, and Venom's like cooking breakfast for the guy that he's infesting, and it's like I could see that being an interesting character But if Venom is just a villain, he's not an interesting one. But if he's actually an anti-hero, but I think he is, and I think Carnage is the really bad one. I'm thinking.
Having read the early Venom stuff, up until 93,
Yeah.
it was all Eddie Brock, and that's his personality. And the costume is just kind of along for the ride. Maybe the costume lets him know a few things, or he could figure things out. But there was no inner voice that I picked up on. That's a newer type thing that probably happened in the last decade or so.
So
But
maybe
I'm
that's
guessing.
why I didn't like the character. But maybe what it is now that people know it is today is more. I don't know, but I think that Venom is not as evil as the Carnage is the real villain, right? I'm thinking because it's infesting a serial killer.
The early 90s Venom was, he'll kill you, but if you deserve it, he justifies it. Whereas Carnage just wants to kill, kind of like the Joker who thinks it's fun or something.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that was what I was picking up in the 90s, and I was thinking, I got to get out of this. So
When I pulled out a box today, it had Amazing Spider-Man 316, maybe.
that's a good cover. Yeah.
And it had a Mark Jewelers insert.
Okay.
And so I type into eBay completed sales, and someone paid over $800 for one with a Mark Jewelers
Wow.
insert. So I think I found something here.
Now, 316, he's fighting. He's got the costume in pieces, and it's stretched out and all kinds of. Or is Venom over Spider-Man?
It may not be 316. I may be thinking of John 316. It was 3 something. I don't know. It was. I don't remember. I look it up and I see, oh, this is an important issue. And then because there's none available here, and the only ones available are being people like auctioning it off. Okay, so this is a big one. So I have to look at eBay completed sales, and it's like, oh, okay. Because I'm like Sam Raimi, right. I love the Spider-Man of the Ditko and John Romita era. And then when that Secret Wars started, I'm like, I don't know about this. And I don't like the black costumes. So I kind of like fell out, and I was hanging out with my college buddies. And then all these things happened with Venom. And I think Sam Raimi he's older than me, but he liked the older stuff. So he has a great feel for what Spider-Man should be in the 60s and early 70s, which is why Amazing the Spider-Man #2 happened with Dr. Octopus, a wonderful movie that captured the feeling of the comic. And then Avi Arad says, you've got to put Venom in this because he sells toys, and I own the toys. And so it's like, oh, okay, but I don't know who this character is. I really wanted it to be about Sandman, and Sandman looks exactly like he did in the comic. It would have been great, although if it was just a Sandman movie, all that bit about him killing Uncle Ben, like, oh, don't do that. That's like in the Batman '89 movie. It's
right.
Like, oh, the Joker is the one is the one that ridiculous,
Yeah.
It's better that it's better that it just was nobody. That's the whole irony. Batman is that it's like when Kennedy's killed, you want there to be this supreme villain, this most horrible man in the world that did it. But it's actually, if you believe the story that it was Lee Harvey Oswald, it's just this nobody, this nothing. Although that's not what really happened, but and it's just like Batman's whole life is like looking for this killer, and you'd expect he's looking for Hitler, or the Joker, but it wasn't. It was just some guy, and I remember there was a storyline where that Joe Chill, who was the real guy that killed, is like in prison. The other people find out he's the one that killed Batman's parents, and it's like, you did this, and I'm in prison because Batman caught me. He wouldn't have existed if it wasn't. And they're all about to go after him. I seem to remember this storyline. unless I dreamed it. And that's great. That's what would have been great in the movie. But don't make him the killer of the parents. That's when I started to think, well, Tim Burton, you're not as perfect as I thought you were from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. But I'm not knocking the movie. It's just there's always things that's like, hey, maybe you shouldn't have done that. You can always nitpick things. But yeah. So what is next week's episode about?
I don't know. You are the only fossil left to even discuss it with. So,
Oh shoot!
um,
I'm sorry, I slipped and cursed. I feel terrible. Because for those of you who don't know, Graphic Man also has a religious channel here on YouTube, but he's written books. He's like a Bible scholar, and I come on here and I drop the F-bomb. It's like, what an a-hole.
I don't know if we have to have a theme. Maybe we can go back to what we were doing. You know, what did you get recently? I think a lot of guys like that. And
that's the easier, but then having to go back through the boxes.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's handy, you know.
For example, if Steve can come back, he went to this Baltimore con. It'd be great to see what he recently got and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Is it going to happen this weekend, the Baltimore con?
Oh, it just happened. And
I hope he shot footage of it.
He's got a couple of pictures on Instagram.
I haven't looked. I go on Instagram, I post pictures, and then I never look at anyone else's stuff. I go on Facebook, I post a couple of pictures that are memories from 10 years ago, usually that I'm starving or I'm feeling terrible, and I repost it, and then I never look at anybody else's stuff. I just don't. I don't know. I guess that's what is that? Narcissism or selfishness, probably. I just.
Spectator says if they knew Joe Chill killed Batman's parents, wouldn't that give away his secret identity? I suppose
that would be if they knew who they killed. They just know that, yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they could look at newspapers from a certain time period and find, well.
So Joe Chill may have killed 7 different people's parents.
All right.
And I don't know, Spectator.
I don't remember the storyline. It was some story. I swear there was, Eric Breen would know. But I just forget stuff. Let's see. My wife's talking about decaf coffee in the chat.
Well, I show these covers where someone's decapitated.
Oh.
And Spectator says Graphic Man is making me a fan of decap. And it's a play on words. And so
I get you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what how do you get these really amazing 50s comics? Are you getting them like off eBay, or do you find them in stores?
I've always loved them. And every now and then I'll go through a box. I've got that. That would be great for this coming, So, but I don't have any more ghosts or ghouls, or I'm completely out. So I'm glad we can't do this another week, because I didn't have that very many to be, tonight. So,
well, Night Tiger Comics is having a live stream on Halloween night. He said he's inviting people to it. I never got an invitation, but I wouldn't be able probably to be on there even if he did invite me, but that's great to not be invited, because then you can participate in the contest.
Yeah.
Because last year I won a trivia contest and got like a early 70s Spider-Man and Avengers comic. But that was cool. But yeah, I'm not in the same league with Night Tiger. He's a big time Golden Age collector. And
yeah. I
don't know. I just can't.
It's like I could probably hang with him for a round or two, but some of those old price fights to go 15 rounds.
Oh no.
There's no way I could get that. So
yeah, it's probably going to be all Golden Age collectors.
So, well, Gratu, this has been great. We're going on 10:18.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the same time zone as me. I forgot about
Yeah.
All right. Well, look at the antique malls for a comic book vending machine. They must be around because they say they were in your state primarily. That's where they made them, and they didn't get. This guy I was talking to had one in Louisiana. Louisiana is what? Is
South.
I know it's south, but is there a state in between, or do they border?
Oh, Arkansas. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So anyway, so they got around somewhere in that area.
I've been here all my life. I've never seen one. And
well, they stopped being a thing.
Yeah.
Probably about 1972 when 20-cent comics came in, and you're younger than me, so
Yeah.
they would have all been scrapped before you were even aware that you were alive.
Probably.
Oh well, yeah, it was fun. So,
well, everybody,
right? These Morbius the Living Vampire Teeth. I should have this week. Yeah.
Good night, Greta.
Night.
We'll see you all next time, folks. See you next week.
Wednesday, 7. Take care, guys.